Hey everyone, this is Isaiah Israel, and I'm very, very, very excited about having a very special friend of mine who I met on Brother Maurice's show. She has written a book called A Mother's Love, which you can see here. Hoping you can see it. Let's see. A Mother's Love. So we're waiting on her to come and to join us, and we will be starting in a few seconds as soon as she can show up. But in the meantime, I really want you to understand what this book is about. I had the pleasure of writing the a comment on Amazon for her book, and it goes as such: A mother's love should be and must be considered a compendium of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the years of patience that a true mother shows towards her children, with love that inspires, uplifts, and motivates her child to be the best she can be in the world outside of the normal household in which the child will interact. I found Sister Cassie's work to be filled with insightful words of wisdom that obviously comes not only from her life story, but embody the spirit of wisdom from the ages past that flows effortlessly from the mind, heart, and soul of Cassie's insightful thoughts and years of introspective analysis. With such an insight, the reader comes away with a fresh and renewed perspective that allows the person, parent, and mother to see that indeed the Bible as the foundation, one can endear the child with the eternal wisdom of our ancestors that will give the child a perspective of life that will steer them in the right direction and to avoid the seven deadly sins of life, so that their lives are filled with abundance of all kinds. For the road of truth is littered with fools, but with Cassie's book a child can put on the garment of God, which are knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, so as to grow unhampered by the negative change of others, and more so of the negative of his or her mind. And I gave the book a 5-star rating, but that's about the highest you can go. I really believe and know that she deserves better. So as soon as we can get her in, we will um, have her. So please hold on. But in the meantime, listen, Cassie's book is one that really captivated my attention. I'm not too fond of books that give me a headache, and I found it to be very easy and light reading. She speaks well or writes well and makes the person comfortable. I don't. Um, I didn't feel like I was overburdened with a lot of big words. It's just truthful words that really bespoke her life experiences. And to be honest with you, I loved the book. I read it in 2 days. I could have read it in one, but I had a lot of other things to do, in the household, like washing clothes. So my wife was really on my back that day, but I got it done. And it took 2 days just to read it, and it was very compelling to read. So each and every word and each and every uh, paragraph and each and every page was enticing, was very notable to say the least. So I am very, very, very uh, thankful for the friendship of Cassie and her husband and her family. And I know that once she is on, she will be able to really put all of this into perspective. And like I said, we're just waiting on her to get here. As soon as she can come, that'll be great. So hold on. Okay, she is here now. What do we do? How do we bring her on? Uh, okay, hold on. Okay, now we are. Let's see. Okay, now where do we go here? Well, it seems that we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, but this is the first time I'm doing this on StreamYard. Let's see. Ah, there you go. There you go. Sister Cassie.
Can you hear me? Hey. Oh my goodness.
Hey, what's going on, baby?
How you doing? You know, my husband
You got it.
just
I
Friday is
was
our
like,
date night. So
uh,
and it just ran a little over tonight. I was like,
I thought I was messing. I was like, oh Lord, here we go.
no,
I done messed up my first interview.
oh no,
She gonna be
no,
mad and upset and
no,
talking
no,
about me.
no, I would never be mad and upset. Absolutely not. No.
Well, that's great. But I
Because this
really
is
appreciate you coming on tonight, and I'm very
yes,
excited. But you know
anytime.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I completely forgot about doing the intro, how to do it, how to do the intro, do the outro. I'm like,
You
wait a
know
minute,
what?
my brain ain't
It's
that damn hard.
look, it's just about just being yourself and just
Oh
being
yeah,
yourself.
but
That's
look,
all.
I had a tight ass intro now back in the day, like 4 years ago, before YouTube struck me down. But
Oh, how
it
long
is
they
what it
struck
is.
you down for? How long they
No,
struck you down for?
no, they struck me down for the fact that I did not put an age restriction on one of the videos.
Are you serious?
Of all the things that they could have done, that was it.
But they got your brother too. They got Maurice too. Oh,
Uh, yeah, they getting everybody. It seems
they
like
didn't.
a
Yeah,
little
because
bit of anything.
I've had videos on here for oh god, a bunch of them, and look like every week because I stopped coming on so much, and every week I see where they struck something down that's been done like 2 or 3 years ago. Like one was
Oh,
done
okay.
in 2021, and the other one was done,
Wow.
way back. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, YouTube. I just hope y'all asses burn down because I'm sick of YouTube. I'm so sick of
Burnt
them.
down, burnt up, everything.
I hope they just disconnect their asses. I'm so sick of
Uh-huh.
them. Every time you turn around, YouTube doing something. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sick of them.
Well, listen, we are live for the last 9 minutes. I gave the audience, I guess, some people are gonna come on, but we are on X and we are on YouTube. So I
Okay.
got a lot more followers on X. I
Okay.
got about
So cute.
23. Yeah, I got about 23 followers on YouTube.
Oh, okay. That's
But we
cool.
starting out
Yeah,
young,
it's
starting
something
out
new.
fresh.
So it's new. So it's all good.
Yeah,
All good.
yeah. But listen, I'm going to reread the comment or the what do you call it? The when you do a book review,
Yes,
right?
I
On
see it.
on
I see it.
on
Look at
Amazon.
there. I
Yeah,
thought that
but
was
you know,
pretty
I look,
cool.
I have no qualms about expressing myself about something, especially books. You know what I mean? Because
Especially
I
that.
love
Yeah,
books. I love to read.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Especially one that's going to help our young people, to do what they need to do. Because a lot of our babies don't know how to parent. They're so young, and that's why I wrote the book. A lot of them don't know how to parent. They have no
and
idea.
that
Yeah.
yeah, and that was
Yeah.
the point of my book review. Let me take the minute and reread that, and then we can get into your book and how you came about writing for it. This is your first book, right?
This is my first book. Yes. Yep.
Okay.
First book.
And how did that transform you and all that? But hold on, we'll get into that in a minute. And let
Okay.
me read this one more. Let me read this one more time. It says, "A mother's love should be and must be considered a compendium of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of years of patience that a true mother showed towards her children, with love that inspires, uplifts, and motivates her child to be the best she can be in the outside world in which the child will interact." I found Sister Cassie's work to be filled with insightful words of wisdom that obviously not only that come not only from her life story, but embody the spirit of wisdom from the ages past that flows effortlessly from the mind, heart, and soul of Cassie's insightful thoughts and years of introspective analysis. With such an insight, the reader comes away with a fresh and renewed perspective. That is the new mothers or mothers who are having young kids, perspective that allow the person, parent, and mother to see that indeed with the Bible as the foundation, one can endear the child with the eternal wisdom of our ancestors that will give the child a perspective of life that will steer them in the right direction and to avoid the seven deadly sins of life so that their lives are filled with abundance of all kinds. For the road of truth or towards truth is littered with fools. But with Cassie's book, a child can put on the garment of God, which are knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, so as to grow unhampered by the negative change of others, and more so of the negatives of his or her mind. And I said I gave the book 5 stars because that was the highest possible rating, but deserved
Awesome.
more. So
Awesome.
I
Awesome.
said, great job. So I really appreciate you coming on.
Yes.
That's a heartfelt comment about your book. And, I've always been honest with my words, but I try to be um, direct, simple, and using words that really bespeak what I want to say and perhaps what the other person is trying to say or has said that might be more lucid. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to books that are written or with an author like
Yeah.
yourself. But you know what? You got it. You got it. You got it. And I was really moved by your book, right? And we're gonna take it page by page. We're gonna take all. If we take 8 hours, we're just gonna take it out. But it ain't gonna be that long. But tell me, about yourself and how you came about writing the book and what motivated you for writing the book to start out.
Wow. I'm just Cassie. You already know. I'm a wife.
Mm,
I'm a mother. I'm a grandma. Um, man, I wanted to do something different, and I started writing it. it took me literally 20 years to write it. And I did it because I didn't, my mom, and I weren't very close, and I was a product of rape, and everybody knows that. And
Uh,
my mom was not there for me. And I wanted to take that opportunity to kind of teach, because I didn't know how to parent, right? So
right,
I was doing an experiment with my girls to understand and to help me to be a better mom. I didn't want to do it the same way my mom did it. And I know a lot of people have kids and their dads aren't there. And I can say that it is by choice that I
right,
made a difference. I did it different. I had never heard I love you from my mom. So
right,
did it totally different. I didn't do it the same way because I know how I felt growing up, not hearing that and not seeing it. So I wanted, like I said, did it different. It took me literally 20 years to write the book, and I did it from them being
wow,
babies because I didn't understand how to be a mom, and I was practicing. I was just trying different things and what would work. I wrote it down, different techniques as far as just different life lessons that my kids learned that
right,
that was downloaded to me because every time they had a birthday, I just asked Jai, how do I do this? I've never done this before. And he would just download instructions on how to be a better mom or a good mom. And I just did it the way he showed me. And they're very successful today, you know.
wow. Okay. And obviously, that can either throw you in a bad way or in a bad light or on the wrong road, because everyone has different experiences, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but what kept you from going down the wrong road? You know what I mean? A lot of people just say the hell with it. They get stuck on or on drugs or
Right. No.
any kind of other negativity that seems to be the answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But inside, they know
Mm-hmm.
that they must choose a better way of life. And one of the things that I found this out today, right? Coming from a video, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to come back on later because you have a well of love in you, a well that runs deep. And I really wanted to tap into that. And a lot of people need to know that just because you had some kind of a negative impact on your life does not mean that it's all well and done and sealed, that you can move beyond that. And it reminds me, right? It reminds me of a book called A Boy Called It and a Man Named Dave. Powerful,
Yes.
powerful.
Yes. I read
Yeah.
those books. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did. Oh, okay, then
Yeah.
you know, right?
Woo. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
powerful. And one of the things that I like is the
Yeah.
fact that he did not allow his mother to define him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Now
It's a
he
choice.
saw something greater within himself that God puts in you in order to go from where you are to where you want to be, and not to be constrained or restrained in any way, shape, or form. That even in the Bible it said, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." You know what I mean? And then when you make that mindset, and when you have that mindset of seeking truth, of seeking justice, of seeking revelation in regard to what you can do in regard to your own life efforts and achieving um, your goals, you can overcome whatever it is because it all begins here. And I've come to the realization when I was younger that for us, right, we are the great people of this planet, the mothers and fathers of all humanity. And with that being said, you know what I discovered? That it all begins here. The
Yeah.
promised land is right here. It's not in Israel. It's not in Africa. It's not in America. It starts right here. And I really appreciated your book because that's all of what I thought about it. Like it reconfirmed and confirmed my belief. And so with that, we're going to get into it a little bit more, but I really want to have a better understanding as to how you surmised it. You know what I mean? How you came to grip with all of that so that the audience can not only hear your struggle,
Mhm.
but feel it. You know what I mean? And allow people to step into your shoes, to walk your talk, to walk your walk and talk your talk. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people. Matter of fact, there was a sister that I made friends with years ago, and she talked about people who have gone through what you've gone through, and she's just an incredible person,
Yeah.
a sensitive person, an aware person, a conscious person, and that's what I find the gems of all of that. That is what is shining through with you each and every time that I see you. I even felt you. And what happened to your friend that came on the first time?
Oh, she's fine. She's still doing what she was doing. And I
Oh,
got
okay,
off that day because she had called me because she was really upset, And
okay,
her and I've talked, and we still talk, and she's
okay,
doing her thing, and that's her thing. That's what God put her to do. But
okay.
and that's what she does, and that's what she does.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't into it. I'm not, because I don't want to live among certain people. So,
Right,
but there are people who do, and I
right,
believe that God puts gifts in us, and we
yeah,
are
right,
here to use those gifts, and that's how she's chosen to live hers. Not that she's LGBT, but she has chosen to provide them with a place to
yeah,
live. Also, that's a safe haven. So
right,
that's her, and that's her thing. But
okay.
yeah, she's an
Oh,
amazing,
okay,
not talk. She's an amazing person. She's really got a great heart, a good head, and doing what she feels led to do.
okay,
So, and I can't get
okay.
in somebody else and say, "Oh, I don't even bother." I don't. I'm like, okay, that's
Yeah,
what he led you to do. Do you? So and I believe that everybody has their own um gift. You know, we've
yeah,
got our own
right,
path,
right,
and live your
right,
path. And I don't have time to, I would never try to discover somebody about their path. I'm sure she's had people around her to, try to discourage her. And I'm not here to do that. I'm
right.
just here to present it. And if you're interested, get one on one with her, get her information, and do what you need to do there. But yeah.
Okay. Well, like we were talking about, if you can, in summary, about your life experiences and about the words in which you use, because you were so, I could feel it. You were so immersed. I guess that's the word, immersed. I don't- you're very choiceful of the words you use. I could feel it.
Uh-huh.
Cause I could feel the mother instinct that you wanted to try to instill in your words, in your book, that people who don't know you
Right.
will be able to, at the end of the book, be able to say,
Yeah.
I
She
know her,
cares. Yep. She
I
cares.
feel her,
Yeah.
I understand her. You know what I mean? So if you can, in so many words, try to do that.
Okay. Well, legacy. It's all for me. It's all about legacy, and it's all about me choosing to be different, choosing to do it different. Yes, I could have been the same kind of mom, distant, not there, unloved. I could have been the same kind of person, but I choose not to be. I know how
Indeed.
it felt feeling that, and I never wanted my girls to feel that I didn't love them or that I wasn't there, I didn't care. I never wanted to, but I knew it was going to take me doing work, because a lot of times we're a product of where we came from. Even though we don't want to be that product, we don't want to do the same thing, but sometimes it just happens like that. Unless you make an effort to be different, to get that healing that you need. And I struck out. I mean, it was to a point where I was sick of me, and I made a conscious effort. And I'm telling you, it took years for me to get there, because I was a very angry child. I was a very bitter child. I hated my mom. I hated my family. I had so much in me. And I said, I could either take this and be that miserable person, and I could just stay miserable. I could stay fighting the system. I could stay fighting everybody else, or I could get the healing that I needed to be the person that God was, or Yah was creating me to be. And yes, I'm gonna go there, because that was the basics of. I grew up in the church. I grew up, and I had this very special relationship with Yah, and I'm gonna tell you all about it. This was my story, because I remember being a young woman, and I felt like such an ugly duckling. And I remember one day just asking him, "Yeah, show me." But at that time, I was God. Show me what you see. Show me how you see me. And I mean, we had, even after that, I knew then that I was chosen, that I had a special calling for my life, even knowing that we had special, just different things that he would show me, and how many times he saved my life, literally, from danger. I mean, and when he showed me, and I was in the mirror and I was like probably 9, and I said, just show me what you see. Who do you see? Show me the way you see me. And I'm telling you, I got the brightest light, and the prettiest flower just started growing out. Like it was just
Yeah.
all kind of colors. And I'm
Mhm.
literally in the mirror looking at this thing grow. And I'm like, I'm telling you, it was just, I had never experienced anything. That's when I knew he was real for me, for
All
me.
right.
Because me growing up the way I grew up, I needed that support. I needed that blanket. I needed that comfort. And he was that for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
considering
Yeah.
where I had came from, and considering that, so many times he had protected me, and I
Mhm.
saw him protecting me. And I don't know if I told you, but several times I almost died,
No, no,
literally
I didn't.
died. And
Right.
how I would just see my life there, and I knew it was for a reason. I knew it's for a reason. I don't believe that we go through stuff for us. We go through for other people. And he began to heal me because I intentionally went after him for that healing. I wanted
Right.
my heart to be healed. I didn't want
Mhm.
to hold this against this person and hold this against this person. And it was showing in my job because I was so angry and I would say anything. I was just so undisciplined. And I was
Mhm.
so angry. And I remember one time I sat on the floor and I said, God, why am I so angry? I said, why am I the way I am? And he said to me, and literally, I know people say, whatever, y'all do you. I mean, this is my story, my life. So I got to tell you how it affected me. He said, you are the way you are, but I'm going to show you how to control it. It's for a reason. For where you're going, you're going to need that, but I'm going to show you how to tame it. And he began to put me on this journey, right? And I was
Mhm.
so angry and I was tired of being angry. And how he started teaching me how to control it, he would allow me to feel the warmth of the heat or the anger from my toes all the way up. And I would be able to feel it. And I said, man, I felt that. So that's how he taught me how to control it. But I can literally feel it rising from my feet on up. And I was like, oh my God, I can literally feel it. So I began to learn how to control it that way by feeling it. It was something I
Yeah.
felt,
Yeah.
right?
See.
So, okay. So that was an area where he began to just tone me down, tame me down, I guess it was, so that I
Mhm.
wouldn't get in trouble with my attitude or my mouth or the things that I was doing or saying, because I always wanted to consider somebody else's feelings, but I was so hurt I couldn't. So it was my healing. That was my healing process. And it would be me just writing. I used to journal a lot. For me, that was healing, me journaling it out. I have so many journals. I could make a book of my journals because I would journal every day, all the time. I kept it with me, right? But I had to do that. And that was for my healing, right? So then once I had children, you know, I began to want to do that different. I didn't want to take them, I didn't want to hurt them, I didn't want to damage them. I wanted them to be productive, healthy adults. And to me, it was going to take me being whole in order for them to be whole. And that's what it was all about for me. That's what
Right.
the journey, and that's what a book came in at, because I wanted somebody else that was going through the same thing I had went through. I wanted them to have the blueprint of how to be free. And he began to give me the gift to be able to minister to young women between the ages of 18 and 25. They would get lost in the shuffle, right? And those are the young women that he would bring to me. And I would just take them on a wing, and I was just like their godmother. And I have one, her and I are still friends, and her and my daughter are really good friends now. But I'm telling you, my kids never got jealous because they had the love and they felt the love, and I never took that love away from them to give it to somebody else. So I had enough to go for everybody. But this thing it's real. It's real.
Mhm. Well, I appreciate that. Sorry about the kid. Trying to get
That's
him
fine.
calm
That's
down.
that's fine. They don't bother me. That's
But
fine.
listen, yeah. But listen, we're gonna start with dedication, and then we're gonna move to the forward because those two pages were powerful. So I'm gonna read it,
Okay.
and then I'm going to read the dedication first, and then the foreword. That's by Delilah, right?
Delilah was the
Okay.
lady that did. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, wait a second. This is the dedication. I dedicate this book. I'm going to assume this is you. I dedicate this book to my children that helped me write this book. I always wanted things to be different for my children, and I wanted their childhood to be different than mine. I knew how I grew up and the results of that upbringing. I wanted to do things in a particular way, totally different for my children, and to get different results. And I did. Both of my girls have degrees and are very successful. And what struck me is the word whole, which is very important that children grow up whole. Keep that in mind. Now, well, you already know, but I'm going to keep that in mind and allow the people who are going to be listening to this later on. And their mother getting on their back. Okay. Now this is the foreword by. I'm going to assume this is your friend, right? It says Cassandra Chief has a strong passion and desire for our children. That's our race of children. As I'm going to assume that is to be raised with necessary teaching
Hmm.
to gain wisdom and understanding to survive in this world, and for them to be whole, as you stated in the dedication, and nurtured.
That's right.
She loved to share what she learned and her wisdom with those who need extra insight and desire to see others to strive and complete their goals in life. She is an she is she is an advocate for wholeness,
Mhm.
loving, nurturing, and strong families. She also believes that with two parents in the home and God, the head of our lives, our children will become more successful adults. Now, let me kind of expound on that from my perspective because I could feel the love of a mother all just in these first two pages, right? For me, can you hear me? Okay.
I can. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
I just got
For
you on mute.
me,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay. For me, for you to be okay, cuídate, Alabama. Uh, for me, being whole or holy, WHOLLY. No, excuse me. Let me take that back. To become a holy being, HOLY, you must become a holy being, WHOLLY. Now, the way that which that was instilled in me by my parents, it's evident throughout the whole book. That you know what I mean? That you are explicitly, implicitly, overtly, covertly, all of that in every word that you choose to use that I'm getting that I felt my parents uh, were talking to me through your words. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So yeah, and then allow me to read the preface. Now it's getting serious. I told you we're gonna take it book page by page, baby. I ain't playing. Now it says the preface. While I wanted to write more about this topic, I decided to continue with this subject a bit more at a later date. I think you get the point on how important it is to get the healing needed for us as parents to be able to raise up positive and whole children. We can only raise whole children if we are whole, and there it is, ourselves, and do some self searching, introspective work, my work, so we can make a better impact in their lives.
That's right. I
That's
believe that.
powerful.
I believe
Right,
that. I'm telling you,
right,
I believe that with every fiber of my being.
right. Yeah, and I felt that, you know what I mean? And it goes on to say, let's go get the help we need so
Mhm.
that we can allow healing to come. In other words, sharing your experiences,
Yeah,
sharing your feelings, your emotions, your
yeah,
frustration, all
yeah.
that with people who are competent, not just psychologists, but
Right.
people who truly care
Yep.
about you
Yes.
as a person and they are nurturing you as you are nurturing them.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
Right.
there's a 180-degree or 360-degree nurturing effect that happens when you share
Yeah.
your feelings and emotions and whatever else with other people who are of like mind.
Yes.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
it says it's time for us to do something different
Yes.
and stop passing down dysfunction
Right.
to our children and
Yes.
generations.
Yes.
Let's change. Let's change the dynamic of black families.
Yes.
So we're gonna continue, but I wanted you, if you felt like you wanted to expound on that or make it. I don't think you can make it more plain.
You know, I am gonna say something about you remember how Big Mama used to be back in the
Right,
day. Big Mama, one day she'd be right, and one day she'd be mean, one day she would
right,
be nice, and one day she'd be tearing up everybody's behind.
right,
She'd be
right.
and you thought that that's just Big Mama. No, that was bipolarism. And people
Yeah,
thought it was normal that Big Mama was cussing everybody out one minute, and then the next minute she was like, oh my God, you go over there, Big Mama was so loving. But we have to understand and really put stuff in perspective and really be able to recognize when somebody has a mental illness.
yeah,
Seriously.
yeah.
Because a lot of times back in the day, our grandparents, they dealt with so much in America,
In America,
they
yeah.
didn't know what else to do with it but to take it out on the kids. You know, so
Yeah,
we made so many excuses for grandma, but I didn't want to do that with my kids. I didn't want to be because I grew up with that. I grew up with my mom being very mean, but I understood because I was a product of rape. So when you
mm,
look at a rapist baby, what else do you do when you don't get help? So a lot of times I just stayed to myself. I stayed in my room a lot. I stayed away from her because it was just some stuff going on with her that I felt that man, you're off. But it's so I'd rather for her to go to work because I get some peace when she was at work. At least I didn't worry about getting knocked down or being, mean or whatever. So I would just stick to myself and I would be thinking, oh my gosh, she's off tomorrow. So I'll stay in my room. And I would literally plan my whole day in my room because I just didn't want to be bothered. And that's how I am today. I'll disappear if I feel threatened, if I feel where it's, learning more so now learning how to deal with it. But early in my years, I would hibernate. I'm not dealing with it. I would go and be by myself because I was an only child, so I didn't have a
mm.
problem being by myself.
Oh, okay.
Grew up by
Yeah.
myself, so played by myself, was by myself. I love my company,
Mm,
So I began to understand how important I was and how not to allow people to treat me a certain way
okay.
at a young age. Some people are
Yeah.
people. I was not. I would disappear. I would have my walls up, and I'd be like,
Mm,
nope, keep
yeah.
stay over
Yeah.
there. I stay over here, and I didn't tolerate a lot of disrespect. So a lot of
Yeah.
unhealthy relationships I didn't have.
Right. Right. Okay.
So it's a choice.
Um. So um. Let me put a little pepper and salt on that and
Okay,
play the devil's advocate, right?
mhm, sure.
What if you didn't have all of that internal dynamic that was going on inside of you that made you or allowed you to see not only here but from the spiritual angle? How
I would
how
have been a mess.
how did yeah how did you
I would have been. It's.
how were you able to do that?
I'm
You
gonna
know what
be
I mean?
so honest with you. I remember I would journal a lot. And I would talk to the universe. You guys call him whatever you call him, God,
Yeah.
universe, Jesus,
Okay.
Yahweh. I
Yeah.
had that relationship. It wasn't a Christian thing. It was relationship. I didn't
Relationship.
have a
Right.
lot of friends, so I would talk to him a lot, right? In my
Mm-hmm.
journals, I'm writing my heart because I'm feeling you're reading this journal. So whatever my needs are, you're going to help me to get there. That was my thinking, right?
Thank you.
And I
Right.
knew that I wanted to be a better person inside. I didn't want
Mm-hmm.
to be the same old me. I didn't want to be mean. I didn't want to be what I saw around me was a lot of mean, evil people
Yeah,
that
people.
was
Yeah.
Christian folk, but they were so mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, why are they so? I would look around me because I grew up in church, right? And these people so different, so mean. They would be one way in church, another way at home. And I was like, I don't want to be like that. I would
Mm-hmm.
look around and say, God, if I never want to be, and I'm looking at all of them, I never want to be like them. I
Yeah.
need you to help me. And I put me on his altar, if that
Right.
makes sense. It was
Right.
about relationship. It wasn't about religion. It was
Mm-hmm.
about a relationship. And I knew he knew my heart, but I'm writing this thing. So as I'm writing it, he's seeing what I need. So he would
Mm-hmm.
make situations, he will put situations in my place, in my steps, in my way that I would have to pay attention to me. Because if I didn't, he would bring a situation that I would get in trouble. So I started early to understand that this is what needs to be done because he would show me what he's doing before he would do it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
just that relationship, I promise you. And I would just know, or he'll say, okay, it's time to deal with that. And if I didn't want to deal with it today, I'm not ready to deal with that. Then it
Yeah.
would be a couple months down the line, but I knew I had to put things in place to start to deal with this stuff. You understand
Right.
exactly how he
Yeah.
deals with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
He'll show me, okay, we're gonna deal with this. And I put it in here, my mind, okay, I'm gonna start dealing with that. And I would start putting things in place to be able to deal with it in my mind. And then when he bring it to me, okay, let's do it. I was ready for it. And it been going through some very serious situations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very,
Yeah. But
that was
some.
like, huh?
Yeah. No. No. I was gonna. Yeah. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
I mean, it was me going through some very hard truths. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? Me
Right.
crying a
Right.
lot. I will go
Mm-hmm.
to recovery. And I believe in recovery. It's almost like therapy. You get to talk it out, and I'm
Right.
talking it out, and they're talking it out. And I literally did this because I wanted to be a better person. Not that I was dealing
Mm-hmm.
with alcohol or drugs. I was dealing with Cassie. I was dealing with
And,
brokenness. I was dealing with a lot of brokenness, a broken
yeah.
heart, broken life, just brokenness. And I
Mm-hmm.
wanted him to fix that. And whatever it was going to take for me to get it, I was willing to do it. And there was a time where I would date. I didn't do a lot of dating because I wanted to be fixed. I didn't want to get the wrong person in my life because
Right.
where
Yeah.
I was broken. So I knew I
Right.
would attract brokenness. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to do that. Even
Right.
after my girls was born, their dad, I was broken when I met him, so he was broken. So we had
Yeah.
a very broken relationship for 10 years. 10
Mm-hmm.
years. It was broken. But I said,
Mm-hmm.
no. So after him, after we went apart and since died, and then I really looked at me because I said the next man I get, I wanted him to be the man that God had for me. I didn't
Right.
want all of this. I didn't want the brokenness. I wanted the
Mm-hmm.
healed up part of
Yeah.
Cassie to attract the healed up part that he
Mm-hmm.
had for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Because it was a
No.
lot, even though I was broken, it was still a lot of men that I didn't attract. I didn't attract abusive men. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
tolerate a lot of that. You call me out of my name, we're done. Seriously, that's how
Mm.
serious it was for me.
Yeah.
And
That's a
I
serious.
remember that's a serious. I'm telling you, I
Yeah.
remember, and this even was in high school. Let me just tell you, I was way back, and I was in high school. We went skating, right? And it was this guy. Oh, he was so cute. He could skate. We used to skate all the time, right? So I was like, oh my god, I would have, wanted to get to know him just to see what kind of person
Mm.
he was. And I tell you that thing, I got to, my friend, how they worked it out, or him and I. So we changed numbers, and he started calling me, and
Mm.
just even on the phone, it was just
Mm.
I'm hearing some things, and I'm like, I'm like, okay. So we went back skating that one weekend, right? And he had a little brother, and I had a really best friend that was a guy, right? Him and I would do everything together. We were just best friends with no sex, no nothing. We were just best friends, right? So
Right.
him and I, we went skating, and a couple other friends, and he would hang out with us, and he wasn't gay. He was just, he was just a friend, a sister. His sister and I were really good friends. So we went skating, And the guy that I was talking to on the phone, he saw me with him, but he didn't know we were friends. So he sent his brother over there, little brother. Hey, and little brother came to me. He goes, Cassie, my brother said, come here. I'm like, your brother said, come here. Why did your brother, I'm looking at him like, okay. So what do you mean your brother can't say, come here? I'm like, well, okay. Okay. Like that. But I stayed over there talking.
Right.
So, a few minutes passed again. Here come a little boy again. And I'm like, he said, my brother said, come in now. Little boy, who are you for one? Who are you talking to for two? And you need to get out of my face right now because I'm really finna, I'm trying to be nice because you're his little brother. So I'm noticing something, right? So, okay. So me and my friend, the guy, he was like, Cassie, you want me to handle it? I said, no, because he was a boxer. So he was really, okay. He was a boxer. So he was not playing, right? I said, no. I said, it's going to be fine. It's okay. So the guy was coming and I was getting scared, and I'm seeing the way he walking. I'm like, ooh, this is not somebody I want to date. Seriously, because I'm seeing something right there. So the guy, the friend that I was with said, he said, I got it. So he's kind of stood in front of me, right? So the guy comes over there, hey, come here. And my friend was like, who you talking to? So, they was getting ready, but that was it. From then, that day forth, that minute, that second, I said, I will never allow a man to even think he could treat me like that. Because that should have been shut down with the little brother, and I didn't. You know what I'm saying? So I said, okay, this is what I have to do moving forward. That right there won't ever happen again. So this is stuff that I learned as I was growing up. How never to allow a man to disrespect me, never talk to me, never curse me, never call me bitches and hoes. Never. And I learned that from every situation that I will go through, I will try to learn something from that situation.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? It's kind of funny how when you are concentrating on your favorite car, you always see your favorite car in the street. You know what I mean? What do they call it? The law of attraction, right?
Yes.
Right. So from what you just said, and I was just watching, and I sent it to you and Brother Muhammad too. The video of how our ancestors tried to civilize the Tomahawk, right? And they never graduated from the first grade, from kindergarten. But they got away thinking they understood the dynamic between the male and female opposites,
Right.
and they never understood that. And I am really of the mind and listening to you, and not only listening to you with my ears, but also feeling you, your heart, your soul, your mind. You are channeling back to our ancestors,
Yeah.
to that common connection that we as Black people had through our melanin, through our sense of feeling and emotion, you know what I mean? And that is what pulled you in the right direction.
Yes.
You were
Yes.
listening to that internal
Yep.
talk,
Yep.
and the God of not Jehovah, not Jesus, not Buddha, of you. That's what you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean.
I
Yeah,
know what you
you
mean.
know what
Yeah.
I mean.
Yes, I do. Yes. Yes, I do. Because you know what?
Yeah.
I remember way back. I remember when I was starting to raise my kids. Their dad and I kind of divorced and we went our separate ways, but he was still very much involved. And I remember one night I was laying there and I had just come from work and I was really tired and it was bedtime. And I just, I would always do like I would always journal my day. What did I need to work on? What did I notice? What did I see? I always did that. And I asked God, I said, I want wisdom to be able to decipher, to discern, and to be able to raise my children the way these are your children. You brought them here to me, but I wanted to honor him, to raise him the way he needed me to raise them. And I needed that wisdom to do it. And that night is where he gave me wisdom. Because I would know stuff that I know stuff and didn't even know how I knew stuff, but I would say the right things to my kids that would teach them lessons. It was all about lessons. Every time I saw an opportunity to teach them a lesson in life, I took it. And he would
Mm-hmm.
show me that's a lesson right there. And I was like, oh, wow. Or I would say, hey, you have not because you asked not, because, one time
Mm-hmm.
my daughter wanted something and I said, well, did you ask? And she said, well, no. I said, well, try asking tomorrow. I said, if
Mm-hmm.
you ask, then somebody knows that you have a need. I said, if you don't
Yeah.
ask, nobody will know. So that need won't
Mm-hmm.
get met. Right.
No,
So the
no.
very next day, she came home, Mom, she was so excited. She
Mm-hmm.
said, I got an orange, right? It was so fun. I said, well, what happened? And she said, the lunch lady, right? She said the lunch
Mm-hmm.
lady, they were up there on the counter, and I asked for one, and she gave it to me. She thought that was,
Wow.
she
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
but I told her that, and God, or y'all, whatever you call him, He allowed her to see that and experience that, just what I told her. So she
Mm-hmm.
would, everything, whatever I said,
Yeah.
she would
Yeah.
experience it and make a big
Mm-hmm.
deal out of it. Become,
Yeah.
guess what?
Yeah.
It was a learning lesson for her. It was a
Mm-hmm.
learning lesson for her. And
All right.
we've had so many supernatural things. And when I say supernatural, that's learning lessons that happened to both my kids, that I could go down the list because so many, because I would work, I would tell them about faith. Faith is the action of doing stuff. You
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah.
sometimes you have to have faith and walk that thing out, and then you get
Mm-hmm.
it. But if you don't expect it, if you don't have faith to have it, for instance, when I say that, we went to my daughter was looking for a certain book, and we walked and she couldn't find it. And I said, well, just keep
Mm-hmm.
looking. I said, just keep looking. And I'm praying, oh Lord, I need her to find this book because I'm trying to show her something here, right? So she
Right.
looked and she looked and she looked and she looked, and guess what? She found it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, but what did that teach her?
Keep looking.
Keep looking.
Yeah.
Keep
Keep
looking.
looking.
Don't give
If you
up.
don't,
That's what,
if you
don't
don't look,
give
you don't find.
up. Exactly. Don't
Mm-hmm.
give up.
Don't. Yes, ma'am.
Don't
That's a
give
better way of
up.
putting it.
That
Yes,
was what
ma'am.
I was trying to teach her. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just so amazing and how it showed up. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. It
Mm-hmm.
shocked me,
Mm-hmm.
but that was a teachable moment.
Mm-hmm.
And those are supernatural moments. I look for
Yeah.
miracles. I don't know who
Yeah.
else looks for miracles, but I
Yeah.
do. I
Yeah.
really do. And I
And
live
and
my
and,
life for looking for miracles to happen. You look for them, you get them every time.
and, some, and sometimes it don't even come in the way in which you think it's gonna
No,
come.
it
They're gonna come
doesn't.
in.
No, no. It comes in your life being saved sometimes.
Right. Right. Right.
I'm just saying. It comes in
Right.
different ways. It comes just when you need that extra $20, $100, or whatever, bill money, okay, that you didn't think you had, but you had the talent to make it. And you
Right.
use your talent, your hands, and he'll bring you more than enough. And I've had that to happen. I mean, just so many ways. But I've shown my children, I tried to show them to trust him. That's what for me,
Mm-hmm.
faith without works is dead for me. You got to
Right.
walk in some of this stuff. You got to walk that thing out. You
Yeah.
can't just sit there and say, well, I sure do want to go to Africa one day. Well, what
Yeah.
you gonna do to get there? You got to put some things in place to get there, okay? Because I remember I was saying that to my, and everything I did, I was trying to teach them how to walk
Mm-hmm.
things out. Everything I learned, I passed down to them because I wanted them to have their own experiences, not my experiences. So if
Mm-hmm.
I teach you how to fish,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you can fish,
There you go.
right?
You can feed yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. You
Mm-hmm.
can expect some of the miracles for yourself.
And that's the greatest present or gift you can give to a
Right,
child.
right,
Not so much. It's nice to have or
right.
leave a lot of money, but if they
But
don't
it's
know what to do
big,
with it, then
right,
it's gonna be like a
right.
fool without money. A fool with money is gone or something like that. Whatever go.
But if you
Right.
have a lot of money but don't know what to do with it, what's the
Do
sense?
it. Yeah. What's the point? What's the point? Okay. Well, listen. I am slowly but um, looking at the book, and as we're talking, and I'm just.
If you go through the titles, I can tell you what the prelude. You just go through
Oh
the
no, no.
titles. Oh,
We gonna get it.
okay.
We gonna get it, and we're gonna set it on fire. So the smoke can go up like an Indian, and everybody can understand what the hell we talking about. just,
I
just
hope
in case they
am
don't
I
get it,
explaining
we
stuff
gonna
the
get it.
way I'm trying to explain it to where they can walk in it, they can feel it.
Yeah, yeah. I feel you. But hold on. Let me. This is on page 6 and page 7. Because I highlighted it,
Okay.
highlighted with the thing.
Wow.
So it says, I think we have gotten away from the basics of real teaching. This is what you said. Parenting doesn't come with a manual. That's on page 6.
Mm-hmm.
Then on page 7, you say also the child will value his mother's opinion
Yes.
when choosing a mate because he
Yes.
trusts his mother's judgment.
That's
And then it
right.
goes down to the secret is not to start from birth, raising our sons and daughters to value God, train them up on the word of God. It is imperative that they have a relationship, not that you are giving them a relationship with God,
Right. Their own.
but they personally, this is what I'm getting, they personally
Mhm.
have a relationship with God with themselves
Right.
because when they get older,
Right.
they will continue a positive cycle. Can
Right.
you break that down a little bit
It
more?
never departs. If I, for instance, you hear that story where I told you about that little boy that we was in the store and he came up to me and he was behind me. He said, "Move."
Right,
I looked to see who he was talking to because I'm like, I'm gonna grab you in a minute. You my child? Who is
right.
what's going on here? So I looked around and see who was talking to him. I could see my daughter's face was like this. She was like, "Oh God, he did not." Boy, don't you know this woman crazy? So I looked at him and I said, "Where's your mother at?
Mhm.
Where's your mother? Take me to your mother." So he took me to his mom, and I looked at her and I said, "Your son," and I told her what happened. I said, "I'm in the
Mhm.
aisle. Your son comes up to me. He says, 'Move.'" I said, that's a reflection of you. I
Right.
said, for one, either your husband is talking to you like that, you've allowed your child to disrespect you, and now I have to be bothered with this rudeness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? Because
Mhm.
you lacked parenting skills. You raised him to disrespect women.
Right.
And now
Mhm.
my daughters, myself, had to be subjected to that.
Mhm.
She apologized. I don't need you. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize to me. You need to apologize to him
Right.
for your bad parenting, for you not
Mhm.
learning how to teach him to be respectful to women
Women.
and how to
Yeah.
respect adults.
Right.
That's a big deal right there. That's a big deal. So it's all about, they don't come with a book,
Mhm.
but I didn't know how to parent because my mom of our relationship. So I began
Mhm.
to ask him, show me how to, every birthday. I said, I don't know how to do this. I need you to help me.
Mhm.
And that was what my request was. Help me with when they turn 2, when they turn 3, when it, because every age was different
Right.
and I didn't know anything about it. I did this before, but I was so wanting to do it right.
Mhm.
I was so wanting to raise them to be whole and not broken. So even with babysitters, I was very careful who I allowed around my children. They didn't spend a
Right.
night. A lot of their friends didn't spend a night. They had friends. They come over
Mhm.
sometime, but it wasn't like every weekend. But
Every, yeah.
they never went to spend a night at anybody's house because I
Yeah.
needed to keep them safe.
Yeah.
Because I knew a lot of stuff happened at other
Oh,
folks' house because the
yeah.
parents they watched.
Yeah,
Not
you gotta
mine.
be careful with
Oh
kids,
no,
man.
you didn't get mine.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to
Yeah.
jail. And I was trying to keep me out of jail. I was trying to keep me out of jail.
As you can hear the cars going by blasting their music. You ain't
That's
nothing but black folk
that's the
here.
DR, ain't it? That's the DR right there, boy. Oh Lordy.
Okay, there we go. There we
That's the
go.
DR.
So on page 9, and tying that to page 9, you go on to say it really hurts when you grow up with parents who choose a man or a job or whatever else over their children.
Mhm.
And it goes on to 10, 11. Your hugs, kisses, and affection do count.
Yeah.
We need to tell our children that love doesn't hurt. On page 11, that is the kind of love that brought them to jail. And you can expound on that in just a second. They were never told, taught, or shown how to be a good mother or wife. Mothers are supposed to set the foundation for teaching their daughters how to be good mothers and wives. We're supposed to be leading by example, and that's a powerful thing right here. Lead by example, not by word, but by deed. So, you want to try to amplify that if you want.
Sure. It's so important, Isaiah, to have a mom that's healed up. Because for me, a mom is a person. I'm going to teach my daughters how to be a mom, and I'm going to teach my sons what kind of a woman to choose for themselves. If I'm abusive, that's what
Mm-hmm.
kind of mom my daughters will become. And
Yeah.
that's what kind of mom my sons will attract to them, an abusive woman. Vice versa. It's good to know the type of man that I'm going to choose or who is choosing me to be the mother of his children because his family is everything. If I have a man and his family has a whole lot of mental illness going on, then guess what? I'm pressing down to my children. I have to be very careful.
Right.
My mom always told me, she did tell me something. It's very important to know who you're marrying, know the family
Yeah.
you're marrying into. Because
I,
if he's abusive, or if his dad was abusive, he's going to be abusive, right?
right.
And
Right.
if his dad was abusive, the sister's going, her husband's going to be abusive, and it's vice. You know what I'm saying? So it's very
Yeah.
important for their dads to show them what kind of man to get. But I
Mhm.
think in the process, because he was, you know, my first husband, we were so young, and he was in the
Mhm.
streets, he was doing his thing, and so I don't think my daughters really got all of what he could have given them because a lot of what I was understanding because he was his mom and dad were married 42 years. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good guy.
Yeah.
His mom and
Yeah.
dad was married
Yeah.
42 years, so
Yeah.
he should know. That's not the case.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
not the case. He
Mhm.
didn't know how to be a dad. He knew how to
Mhm.
cheat. He knew how to
Mhm.
do drugs. He knew how to drink. He did, and his dad and mom were married 42 years. So guess what
Right.
his dad taught him? How to drink, how to be a cheat
Mhm.
by bringing women to his mom, his wife, his mom's home,
Mhm.
and he saw
Yeah.
it. So
Right.
it's very important to know what kind of man you're bringing, what kind of man you're marrying, what is
Mhm.
his foundation, what is his beliefs. That's so
Mhm.
important. And you gotta watch the family, watch that family. Is his mom abusive? Is the dad abusive? Is the uncles abusive? Is the
Right.
women,
Yeah.
is his mom a cheater? Is she a cusser? She a hitter? Because if she hit the dad hitting back, so he saw that, so he's gonna expect me to hit him,
Exactly.
and he gonna think he's supposed to hit me, and I'm gonna have to shoot you
Right.
in Cassie land.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
that's very important right there.
Okay. Um, we're gonna be very deliberate because I really want
Yes,
people to understand.
absolutely.
But every word, whether it's from the Bible and you take that Bible script and you apply it to
Everyday
your
life.
life experiences
Mhm.
and how you did not. And we're gonna get into page 15.
Go ahead.
It said, "Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. If any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things pass away, and behold, all things are become new." It
Meaning
goes on page,
transformation of the mind was important.
okay. It goes on page 16 and 17 because we're gonna, because I made an X on page 19, so bear with me.
Okay.
Um, a lot of times, God will show you that that person is jealous or just a person that is trying to take you off course from where you want to be that God has for you, and we don't listen. Love is a commitment.
Right.
Love doesn't hurt. And that is very true. It doesn't, I mean, I'm sorry, it isn't something you feel today and tomorrow. You will not find out whether the two of you are compatible or not. You may not have anything in common but sex. What are you going to do with the sex wears out? And you then find out that you have nothing in common. If you allow God to bring you your mate, there would be less divorce, if any at all. And I agree with that. On page 18, when a storm comes, you too will be able to work it out and not run to the divorce lawyer. You have to go through something, and that's what marriage is all about. No matter who you are with, you will always go through something.
Yep.
And then it goes on page 19 where I put the X at the on page 19. It says a lot of us don't know what makes us happy. We want our husbands or our wives to make us happy. We
Mm-hmm.
don't. We when we don't know what we want.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think another person can or will know how to make us happy? And you go on to note Corinthians 13:4 through 9. Love is patient. Love is kind. So if you can kind of summarize that, that'd be great.
Okay. Love doesn't hurt, right? If
Yeah.
you are dating, just like I was explaining about the young man, if you are dating, and I'm gonna tell you a story. When I went through the divorce, I was hurt, right? So
Right.
I attracted a man to me that was hurt also. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And him and I was talking and getting to know each other. And his dad found out that his dad was very abusive to his mom. That's how I knew I
Mhm.
was still broken, right? And this young man thought that he was going to be abusive and treat me the
Right.
way his mom, his dad
Right.
treated his mom. Because I
Right.
got to understand about his mom and dad relationship. And I was just like, and I began to ask myself, why in the world, what was going on with me that I attracted him? You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So by me asking myself that, I began to understand that I wasn't ready to date because I was still broken from my marriage because I really wanted my marriage to work with their dad.
Right.
I
Right.
tried everything. I prayed, whatever. I really
Mhm.
did not want to be a statistics, right? And I was still hurt behind that because I really didn't want to do what I didn't want to do it, but I knew it just wasn't 10 years. His mom was in it. It was a mess. It was just, we
Right.
weren't even never supposed to be together, really. And when you do that, you have to fix it, I believe. I could have
Hmm.
stayed there another 20 years and been
Yeah.
miserable. I didn't want to do
Right.
that
That's
because
wrong.
what am I showing my kids? You understand?
Right.
I'm not
Right.
happy. He's not happy. I didn't want to go through all that other crazy stuff. So
Right.
I decided to be free, right? But by in the midst of me being free, I attracted an abuser, right? Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's really go there. So this guy thought that he was gonna put his hands on me, right? I said, that's not
I don't
the
know. He grew up. He grew enough, didn't he?
oh. I'm just gonna say I'm just
No,
surprised that
no.
I'm
Come
not
on,
in
now. Come
jail.
on.
I'm just
Come on. Come on.
I
Come
am
on.
so surprised that I'm not in jail. That's what I'm gonna say,
Ah.
okay? Because I'm gonna tell you what, this dude was in my face one night, right? And I
Yeah.
said, God, I'm gonna have to. I locked myself in the bathroom because I wanted to. Seriously, because I'm not the one. If I
Right.
had a weapon, he would probably be dead. And I'm just saying, right? So
Right.
I put myself in the bathroom because he wanted to be, he would drink and he would smoke. This person was everything I didn't want. That's how I knew I was broken and I was
Okay.
still broken because you know how sometimes you could think you're healed up, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
I wasn't because I saw what I attracted to me. And I said, I said, no, we're not doing this. I'm talking to me. I'm not
Yeah.
doing this because I'm not going to show my
Right.
dear dad never touched me.
Right.
So now I'm with this man that's abusive. So I
Mm.
had to journal and I'm thinking, what is going on with me? This is not even something I don't like smokers, drinkers, and all of this. No, I'm not gonna do that. I was just in a remember their dad was a drinker, a smoker, druggie, he
Mm.
did
Mm.
drugs, all that
Mm.
stuff. And I'm like, I'm not gonna get back into that. But he wasn't abusive. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I got the drugs, I got all of it, plus the abuse. And I said, mm-mm. I said, I tell you what, this is not gonna work. So I called the police because I wanted to save not just his life but mine. Because I'm not the one to be touched. You're not gonna touch me. And I meant that, right? So when the police came, I said, take him. And it ended up being a court case or whatever. And his attorney begged me to drop charges. I said, I'm not. I said, because we're going to force him to do the work on himself. You're going to get him ready for somebody else. Not for me, but for somebody else. Him and I that's not the kind of man that I needed around my girls. And that was the why for me. It was my girls. I didn't want that around them. Because if you hit me, what you going to do with my girls? And then you really going to die. So I was saving me. Right. I was saving me. Because I knew that he touched my girls, it wasn't gonna be good for him. Exactly. So I knew what to do. And I thank God that I was smart enough to do it. Yeah. I was smart enough and strong enough to do it. You know what I'm saying? How many women would have stayed? I don't want to be alone or whatever.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't gonna be me.
Come on.
I mean, you can get a man like a bus every 5 minutes, but I wanted to make sure I didn't date after that. I stayed single for, maybe 2-3 years. I didn't date because, like I said, love don't hurt.
Right.
It can't hurt. Yeah, and if it hurts, that's not love for me, right? Yeah. So what I began to do, I just became to be by myself. You know what I'm saying? And I allowed God to begin, or Yah, or whatever you call the universe, to heal me from the inside out. And when it was time, I gave him permission to bring the man to me that he wanted me to be when it was time. And it was 3 years. It was a while. And I didn't care because I was okay with being by myself because I was so busy raising my girls and doing what I needed to do. So it was okay. Because I knew when I was ready that he was going to bring the man to me. So it's all
you know what? Let me share a story with you. It was about a little girl, who, for whatever reason, I don't know how you want to put it, but the law of attraction, right? So she used it whether she was aware of it or not. That was taught to her by her mother. Yeah. She told her when she was a little girl, just imagine and write it down the kind of man you want, the kind of loving relationship you want. The kind of, all the good things.
Yes.
And she wasn't in no hurry. This young girl, I think she was when her mother told her that.
Yeah.
I think she was like 7 or 8, and she didn't get married until like 28.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Wow.
And when she looked back, to her note, that was the very man that she was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's something, and that's really something. And I remember even with my daughters, as they got older, I wanted them, and they was going to college and stuff. And I said, I want you guys to go to therapy. And therapy I believe in therapy so much. And I told them, I said, I really want you guys to go to therapy because I wanted them to get the man that God had chosen for them. And I didn't want them to get an abuser. I didn't want to get a molester. I didn't want to get them a thug. I didn't want to get a drug head, a crackhead, a drug dealer. And even as they was growing up, I often prayed against that. And I would decree the type of man that would come into their lives, right? Yeah. And I wanted them to go and get the help because their dad wasn't. But you have to understand, I didn't know what a good man is because I grew up without one. I didn't have one. My mom was not a dater. She never dated. She probably dated, was married 6 months. That was my mom. She was married 6 months, but he was a great guy. He was, but he just wasn't right for her. Right. So I didn't really know what kind of man to choose. I didn't know. So my first husband wasn't all of that. He was, we explained that, but I wanted my girls to choose something different. I wanted them to get the help that they need. Even as far as dating, I would tell them to be friends first for at least 6 months. I said, don't date anybody. Get to know them, get to see them, get to know who they are, get to know their family, get to know what ticks them off, get to know what sets them off, get to know their tips, the triggers. You know what I'm saying? I said, get to learn him. Don't just jump in the bed. Don't just be out there with anybody and everybody. Date on purpose. That's what I told them. I said, when you get to know them 6 months, you are either going to be yay or nay by 6 months. And a lot of
mm,
times I would look up and I'd be, where did so and so go? Oh, mommy, he was, and he was
mm,
gone. And that was
mm,
great advice for my daughters. Even when she was in
mm,
ninth grade, my oldest, I said, I don't want you to date in ninth grade. I said, you can date or get to know people in 10th grade. But I
mm,
want you to at least get to know them for 6 months.
mm,
That was helping me because I didn't
mm,
really want her to date, but I knew she would anyway. So that was good advice. But she did it.
mm,
She would
yeah.
they would be friends first. I said, just get to know. You don't have to date today. I said,
Mm,
you're a young woman. You're not trying to get
mm,
married. I said, but date on
yeah.
purpose. And if you
Mm,
find the first time you see that they don't know how to treat you, that's not the man for you.
not for you, right. Okay. Yeah. You know what? It reminds me, because I grew up as in a Jewish household, not a strict, um, how you call it, uh, yeah, what that word where you do all the things, you know what I mean? Uh,
Did you do what you wanted to do? Were you running the house over
no,
there?
no, no. I grew up in a Jewish household,
Oh, okay.
but it wasn't like I don't want to use fanatical. It wasn't like really strict. You got to
Okay.
do
It
this
was
prayer. You got to do that prayer.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because in the end, the whole thing about the religious path
Uh-huh.
or the ways of life,
Right.
all the same, being a good person.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
for
Knowing how to
me,
treat people. Yeah.
yeah. And so my parents made it very clear. They said, Isaiah, just be a good person.
Yeah.
Treat people well like you want to be treated. Be
So it
kind
is.
because
Yeah.
kindness is the greatest religion in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
it's one of the weapons of God that
Yeah.
helps you defeat whatever the opposite of kindness is.
Yeah.
So, for me, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is very important to have
Yeah.
because without that, those are the three precious gems of God or Solomon upon your being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it was instilled in me, and I got a whole lot of ass whooping. I was a hard headed ass boy. You know, I just doing all kinds.
You can
Look, I
imagine.
no, no, no. This is a true story. I went to some, I think it was whatever store it was, right? It was a local. I was 11, 12 years old. So I go into the store, nobody ain't looking. I guess that's when they didn't have security cameras.
You just
So
steal
I
it.
go into the store and I steal a Snicker bar, whatever the hell it was. And I go home, I'm happy that I'm a gay man
Ooh,
and boy.
you just love that little kid.
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this.
You gonna go
I
back
didn't have
tomorrow
to
and get
get,
some more?
no, I didn't have to do nothing. But the rules of life came flooding back,
Yeah.
and how my parents raised me not to do that dumb shit. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. It's there.
Right? Yeah, it's there. It's there, just waiting to correct your ass.
Yeah. Yeah. If you listen.
Yeah, if you yeah. But my parents never whooped me about it, so I felt guilty about it, and then I went took my ass right back to the store, took the manager to the side, and said, here's your 15 cents. I stole this shit. I'm sorry." You looking at me like you dumb motherfucker.
Are
You,
you for
you,
real? That was good though.
you gotta get cut that shit to yourself.
You learned your lesson.
Yeah, I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And you know how
So
you learned it? Because your mom instilled it in you. Your
yeah,
parents
and
instilled it
yeah,
in you.
that's the
That's
point.
what that's the key right there. That's the key.
And like what you were just saying, hold on, let me go back. Uh let me go hold on, let me go back, baby. Let me go back. If you raise a child, how you raise a child
Mhm,
is what road they will stay on, basically what you were saying. Right?
mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's true. And that is so true. So those little experiences personal that I
Mhm.
had gave me a different reflection and allow me to mature in that
Yeah.
capacity, not to steal because it wasn't really mine. It was my desire
Right.
that I
Right.
wanted in that moment. But I
Yeah.
had to understand you must control your desires, whatever
That's
the
right.
fleshly desire may be, or that material desire may be. Because in the end, you will get what you want, but you gotta work for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I understand exactly what you're talking about. Let me go on. We're gonna go from page 20, and we're still doing it one by one. But I
Okay.
just want, yeah, we're gonna get it done. We're gonna we're gonna go from here to my smiley face. I don't know if you can see the smiley face. You see it? I don't know if you can see it, but
Uh-oh.
that brought a smile to my face. Okay, hold
Okay.
on, we're gonna get to that. It says love honors you and respects you.
Yeah.
For instance, a good man will want to see his wife succeed, grow, and he will be there when you need him.
Mm-hmm.
A good husband will do for you before he does for himself. Now, I was talking about I was talking with my wife, and I was saying our kids come before me. No, but come before you, and you come before me. I'm glad. You know what I mean? And I was serious about that shit. Our children's security and the feeling that they feel connected to our home is where they can want to get older and go out.
Mm-hmm.
You come back and get recharged. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel
Yeah.
me? So hold on, let me see where I'm at. Where I was. And okay, so for instance, a good man will want to see his wife succeed, grow, and he will be there when you need him.
Yeah.
And then it goes on. Now, this is a question that I put a question mark to. There were two of them. It says, we have gotten men to the point that they are scared to show their soft side. Now, and men, it's okay to stick around when times get hard, stay and help fight for. Now, that I believe. But the other part, I wanted to get some kind of a clarity as to what that is, the soft side. I'm like, I ain't gay, nigga.
No, no, no. The soft side is the side where you get close enough or you get to trusting her and you
Or,
get
okay,
vulnerable. You know what I'm
okay,
saying?
yeah,
And you show her your heart and you give her your heart. Because a lot of
right.
times we don't get the whole total them because
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
pain that they've gone through.
mhm,
And when
yeah.
he's softened is when he gives you his total heart,
Your
the
heart, yeah,
trust, the heart.
yeah, yeah,
So it has nothing to do with gay. It has nothing to do with that. It's
right,
just you have softened him up enough
yeah.
to where he trusts you. So now he'll give you his
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah.
That's what it
You
means.
know what? You know what? With that being said,
Mhm.
for me, yeah.
Mhm.
This is just for me. I'm
Right.
talking from my own perspective.
Hmm.
I can love a woman. Uh, Scrap that. I can have a lot of strong feelings for a woman, uh, and that's fine with me. I can love that person because that person is loving me. But it don't happen in 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, maybe even 6 years. It really depends whether or not I'm in love with that person. You know what I mean? Where I have totally invested my time, my money, my energy, my character, my integrity to the point where I trust this woman to be the kind of woman that I want to have in my life, that is demonstrating the willingness, the will, that's the point, the will to do what she needs to be done and to get done for us. And so with that being said, that would be my soft side if I really wanted to understand what you're talking about, and that would be my soft side. You know what I mean? How can I really let go and just hand it over? You know what I
Let me
mean?
ask you a question. Let me, even with you saying that, let me ask you a question. What happens if you've been married 10 years, 15 years, and that might be a week where you just don't feel like loving anybody? You
No,
still,
you know what?
can you still, can you still give her your heart? Can you still protect? Can you still make sure she's secure? Can you still
mm,
can you still make sure that you will have her back, even
right.
if she's out and about and she call you, honey, I just ran out of gas. Oh my God,
Mm,
Cassie, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway because
yeah, yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
right,
Even
right.
though back here you tired and I want to lay down and I'm so tired. Oh my God, I don't feel like doing this.
Yeah,
Oh my God, why did
right.
she go out? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, no,
Can
right.
you still even after when love that day love just you just don't want to love nobody. I'm tired. I want to go to bed.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
care. I just want to be alone. I just want to have some
Right.
me time. And then here comes that phone, and she's stuck on the side of the road. Dang, gone. But can you still?
I've gotten to that point. It was I forgot what it was.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was no. I tell you what it was. I had taken off my clothes, put on my going to bed clothes.
Mm-hmm.
You talking about just when I get into that comfortable
Yeah,
spot,
yes, yes. Here she comes. Yep,
and I'm
yep,
looking at her like, God damn, what kind of,
yeah,
you want me
yeah.
to go to the store? What
Uh,
the, but I closed my mouth, put on my clothes and shoes, and took my ass home.
to the stone. But see, that's wisdom. That's wisdom
Yeah,
because
yeah,
even when because even in marriage, you have one of those moments, but that woman always needs to know that you have her back. She's
hmm,
secure and she's protected. When she
right.
knows that she has those three things from you,
Hmm,
you can get her to walk to the moon and back for you. There's
hmm,
nothing she
yeah,
won't do for
that's
you.
the point.
But men need to understand that, and that's why this book, it's all about the relationship,
Yeah,
parenting,
yeah,
moms, dads, children,
hmm,
and everybody having their spaces and their spots. Just like you said, the children come before your wife. Well, for me, it was me, my husband, and the children was in this bubble, which
yeah,
included everybody, which
right.
included they had their spot, my
Mm,
husband had his spot, and I had my spot, and he had, what I'm saying? Everybody
yeah,
had their spots, but
right, yeah,
everybody knew that when it was time to shine, when it's time for the kids, it's time for the kids. When it's time for him, it's time for him. And when it's time for me,
right,
it's time. That's
yeah,
so it
yeah.
wasn't well, we just all knew where we fit. And when it
Mm-hmm.
was time to do what it was time to do, we just automatically did it. You
Yeah,
understand what
yeah.
I'm saying?
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. And another thing too, being I don't like using the word religion because it's really like you describing
Relationship.
something that white folk done brought up
But it's
and
to me,
taught us.
it's
You know what I
not
mean?
about religion. It was never about religion. It's all about relationship.
Yeah,
That's what it's always about. For me, it was about relationship. I was so busy trying to establish a relationship, not a religion, because a
yeah,
religion, so many people died because of religion.
yeah, yeah.
That had that wasn't my aspect was something personal to where I can go and I can say, I can ask him a question and get an answer. For instance, I was 5 or 6, and I remember I often tell the story because this is the story of all stories. And I'm telling you, I used to go to a lot of babysitters. My mom just went to everybody's house. So when I walked in this one sitter's house, it was the guy sitting on the couch. And I think I've told this before on my recent show. And it was a guy sitting on the couch, and I go, oh my God, I can usually feel the atmosphere. I was so gifted that I could feel the
Mm,
atmosphere, feels people's spirits. And I said, the first thing in my mind, I said, it's going to be a long night. Why did I say that? I had no
mm,
idea because I didn't know him,
mm.
but I knew it was something to do with him. Seriously.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to bed, and I used to have night lights in my room, right?
Oh,
Even today, if I'm by myself, I'm gonna have a night light on. My
right. Yeah.
husband is, I'm gonna have a night light on.
So you
And
scared
so
of that boogeyman?
no, I just like to see, I like wake up and see. You know what I'm saying? But you have to understand, when I was small, I had nightmares,
Oh,
and it was
oh,
because of
okay.
the gift.
Yeah.
It's all long. It was because of
Yeah.
the
Mm,
gifts,
yeah,
and
I feel you.
the torments and stuff. It was just that was just
Mm,
whatever.
right.
So
Right.
I'm asleep, and I got my night light on, and I'm laying up, and I look up, and I see this man standing on my bed. Right.
Wow. Okay.
So my
It
first,
was. It felt
my
like a spirit.
no, this was a real man. This was the man that was
Oh
on the
shit.
couch. It was the man that was on the couch, right? When I came in the door and he was laying on the couch, that was him.
Right.
So I'm laying there and I said, God, don't let him touch me. I didn't
Mhm,
I didn't move. I said a
mhm.
prayer in my mind. God, don't let him touch me. You know what happened? He turned around and walked out of that room instantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I knew that I had a relationship. I didn't say
With
religion,
yeah.
relationship,
Relationship. Yeah.
relationship. And I was
Mhm.
protected and I was chosen.
Right. Right. Right.
Because
Right.
everybody's not chosen.
No. No.
Everybody can't have
No.
that relationship. I
Mhm,
set out to have that relationship
mhm,
as a young child, and
mhm.
different things would happen. And every time it would, guess who I ran to? That was my daddy.
Yeah.
That
That.
was all
Yeah.
I knew. That was my protector. My mom wasn't, she wasn't there. So the only
Mhm.
protector I had was the universe, was him.
Right.
You
Yeah.
understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
So
I
I
feel you.
got to understand him, and I got to know him to be my protector.
Mhm,
So everybody
mhm.
else don't get to have that.
Right.
A lot of kids, I used to ask them, why was I never, and everybody else, everybody, a lot of kids got, went through a whole lot of hell in their homes, but I never went through that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I was an only child, a product of rape, I never went through a lot of stuff a lot of kids went through in their childhood. I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that I had to have a special relationship.
I feel you on that one. Okay. So we are on page 24, Miss, and it says, I got a smiley faces here. It says, remember, that is why it is good to allow God to bring us our mates. I am not saying it's going to be perfect, but we will fit perfectly one with the other. Um, and it goes on, and I got the word boom like right next to it. It says, let's look at abuse, which is a very strict subject. Listen, ladies, we are supposed to be our children's protector. On page 27, you go on to say, we allow them to talk to our baby any kind of a way or a way just to have a man. I don't care if that child isn't his, you ought to be sure that he is treating your child with respect. And that's another aspect of virtue, respect. Then you go on to say there shouldn't be any competition. You and your child should have private time, movie time, and just I love you moments without the man interrupting. And then you go on to say get a qualified sitter and you and your husband go on a date. We must not forget to use the right tone with our children and beware of what we say. This is why family meetings are important once a month, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. We have those. Watching who they are hanging out with your kids with and speaking up when you know a certain child is bad for them. That's a smiley face right next to it. Hey, don't just allow them to do whatever they want and whenever they want. We are the adults and we call the shot. And then you go on to say they will stop being friends with that person if they're not inclusive and if they're not uh, fitting within the framework in which you have taught your child uh, to accept. So then you go on to say we have to make them feel they have made the choice themselves. We adults have forgotten that we are smarter, and that is so true. We are smarter than our children. So with that being said, oh, and then let me just throw this in. You want those children around yours who have parents that go to church, who are living the life according to the word of Yeshua. And I'll let you expound on that.
Okay, let's talk about the parenting part, the kids. I
Okay.
remember when my daughters were smaller, we it was just I was very careful of who they hung around. And I remember this one little girl, and she was so much more mature sexual than my
Mm-hmm.
daughters were. I
Mm-hmm.
think my daughters were probably 6.
Mm-hmm.
She was 6, 7, like that. But I could tell there's some stuff that was going on in her house,
Yeah,
right?
how?
You
Yeah,
could,
yeah.
you know. And I told my
Mm-hmm.
daughters, and I explained to them, I said, birds of a feather flock together.
There you
Really.
go. Yeah.
I said, if you're not, you will, depending on who you're hanging around.
Yeah.
You're not getting high, they getting high. One of these
You,
days, you're
you
gonna be
gonna
getting
get
high too.
that.
They're
Yeah.
drinking, you're not drinking. You need to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with positive people that's going somewhere. I said, you can't hang out with somebody and when you leave their atmosphere, you feel down in the dumps all the time. That's not somebody you want to hang with. You understand what I'm saying? So I
Right.
began
Right.
to explain to them what a friend was, what was an acquaintance, and what was the difference. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't understand that, nor do they even bother to helping their children to determine friends. Because kids say, "That's my friend." Let me help you
Mhm.
to decipher. Let me
Yeah.
help you
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
who a
Yeah.
friend is.
Yeah.
And a friend comes around you, and if you feel horrible when they leave you, that's not a good person. That's not a friend, right? Or if they're always wanting their way, and you have to submit to their way all the time. That's
All the time. That's not your friend.
that's not a friend. So I began to show them differences, and I began to
Mhm.
help them to understand why. Because she was like, "Why I can't hang with her?" She thought she was so cool. I said, "Because in her things are going on that shouldn't be going on, and I don't need you around to be exposed to that." You understand? She even wanted the
Yeah.
little girls to be like, "No, she can never spend a night at our house." And I began to help her to understand at age 7 why I said what I said. But then they understood why. Then let me help you to understand about the mates. If you do the work on you, okay, because I'm gonna tell you when I wasn't even looking for my husband, but before I met him, I dreamed about him, and I was like, wow, that would be nice. But I said, but God, not until, and I God, y'all, whatever. I said, not until I'm ready. I wasn't like, oh, give him to me today. No, because I knew I wasn't ready. I said, but when I'm ready, bring him. And the way I knew when I met him was because I saw the very dream that I had dreamed.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. But it was so shocking because it came sooner than what I believe or sooner than what I thought. But I knew him when I met him. And even you, when you meet the man that God or the woman that he's chosen for you, you can't even break it up.
Mhm.
There's nothing you can do to break it up. You'll try to walk away, you can't. You'll try to give up, you can't. Because it's always
Mhm.
gonna be that tug because that's your soulmate, that's your hip mate. You know what I'm saying? That's your rock, that's your rib, right? The other rib
Mhm.
that was missing, that's him. So you won't even be able to break it up. And also when I talked about having time for your husband, time for your kids, like for instance, Friday night was time for my kids, right?
Right. Right.
Saturday night was time for my husband, and then Sunday
Mhm.
night was time for family night, family dinner. We cooked a great meal. We sat down and we ate, and
Mhm.
then we would also like Wednesday or Thursday we would have a talk, a night where we
Mhm.
would talk like Wednesday night. It was
Yeah.
almost like a Bible study, but it wasn't Bible study. It was
Mhm.
a family study. It was a family just to between him and I. Let's
Mhm.
talk about some things that you're noticing. Let's talk about some things that I'm noticing. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about some things. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about where we're going. That was that type of night. That was that type of talk on purpose. Everything is done on purpose. It's not just that the relationship will go itself. It's doing it on purpose.
Yeah. It just bringing back a lot of memories,
Hmm.
good memories
Yeah.
that I had uh, with my family, and no family is perfect.
Nope. Don't even think that. It's never
None.
been perfect. None.
Yeah.
I guarantee
None.
you that. I
Right.
guarantee you that. No, none.
So I
Everything,
wanted.
everything was work. Don't ever think
Mhm.
that, oh, Cassie was just, no, honey, this is
Right.
what you see today is work. And
Right.
it's still some work got to be done.
Right. Right. So I just wanted to make that clear. Nobody is perfect,
Heck
and
no.
no family is perfect.
No.
You can have all the riches
It's
and
work.
money in the world,
It's
but you
work.
can still have dysfunctional ass kids.
Right.
So there has to be a foundation, a floor that is built upon which they can build their lives based on what you are leaving behind them. And
But
if
you
you
know
don't,
what? Even with me, Isaiah, you said that. I don't believe that part. Let me just say why. Because I'm not trying. I just need to get this out because a lot of people say what you're saying, but dysfunction comes from somewhere.
yeah,
Where did it start? You have to go back. If you're seeing something in your child, even now, and it's
mm,
something that's not right, you got
mm,
to go. You got to be honest for one. You got to
mm,
trace that thing back to see where did it start and what happened. Dysfunction don't come overnight. It comes from a seed that was sown into that child's life that made him feel inadequate, that made him feel unloved, that made him feel something or somebody did something to that child. And we got to take it back. So, no, every child is not full of dysfunction because neither one of my girls were. Because I kept them with me and I watched them like a hawk. And I made sure that I took them to a sitter. I said, did anybody touch? Did anybody put anything in your mouth? And I talked about that. Don't nothing go in your mouth. Don't nothing go in your butt. Don't nothing go in your pocket. I talked
Yeah.
conversational wise. I made it an everyday conversation. So I can't let that go because no, dysfunction, we don't breed dysfunction. Other people, when things happen, when they feel unloved, when they feel threatened, when they feel that somebody did something to them and they didn't get the protection, when they don't feel security, when they don't feel protected, that's what breeds dysfunction. It comes from somewhere, and it could be a person that you have around them that is saying stuff in their ear when you're not around, or that's making them feel like they're less than, or making them feel like the other child is better than them. Because I remember when we were little, I had aunts that would make my cousin was lighter than me, right? And they know I was a part of the race, so I would always feel inadequate. I would always feel less than around them. So that's why I felt like this ugly duckling, because I felt it from them because of the way my mom treated me in front of them. You understand where that came from?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
dysfunction don't just come out the blue. It's
Yeah.
bred into
Yeah.
a child from something. And it's up to you as that mom to make sure that you got positive people. And even if you have positive people around them that you think is positive, you got to check that out with your child and say, hey, when you be around Mr. So-and-so, or when you be around Becky, how you feel? How does she make you feel? Or when you've been around that sitter, are you feeling okay? I don't care, male or female. When you feel, do you feel okay? Does that dog bite you? Or does he growl at you? You understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm
No,
keeping
yeah.
the environment to make sure that it's a positive environment. Not that I'm saying it's positive. I need to hear that my child is positive and it's a positive
Yeah.
environment when I'm not around. That they
Right.
feel comfortable enough to say, hey, that woman over there is not right when you're not here, mom.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand? That's
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm talking. That's
Yeah.
that's how you know that you have, when your children are good.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, dysfunction
And
is bred. It don't come
I,
out the blue.
feed off of that. You got to listen to your kids. I don't give a damn how old they are. I mean, they might not be able to
That's
express
right.
it if they're 2 years old, 3 years old,
That's
4 years
right.
old,
That's right.
but
Oh, they can express it.
you can feel it.
They can
And
express it.
you
I'm gonna tell
can't
you
trust,
how.
yeah, you can't leave your kid with any other relative. I don't give a damn how nice they might be. You don't know what was going on in their
Nobody's
mind.
gonna do their job the way you're gonna do it. And I'm gonna tell you what,
Right.
I have to when my baby went to daycare, she was what, two? Maybe at two. I waited till she was a little older because the sitter I had died, right? She was an older
Right.
lady at church, she died. So I put her in daycare, and every day I would sit on the floor with her and I'm teaching her how to communicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting in the floor with her and I'm giving her a doll. And I'm asking, how was daycare?
Oh, okay.
Did you have
Yeah.
fun at daycare? And I'm just listening at how
Yeah.
she's treating her baby because she's
Right.
gonna tell me everything that happened in daycare with
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
baby. Because
Right.
she's talking, she's mimicking
Right. Yeah.
how she was treated that day,
Mm-hmm.
what they said to her, how she
Mm-hmm.
felt with that
Mm-hmm.
baby.
With
You
that baby.
understand why I did it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I
important.
understand. I
That's
understand. I
important.
understand.
Parenting, honey, this parenting ain't no joke. It's not a
Right.
joke.
No. No.
It's,
I take parenting very seriously.
man, this is the most serious thing. Ooh,
My
it's the most
parents,
serious job. Yes, it's the
right.
most serious job that you could ever
Like,
have.
for me, like we were saying on, like Baltimore Reach was asking me, what if that was what Jesse Washington, right? Was that girl's name? That was a boy, whoever that Korean woman shot and killed.
Oh, honey. Ooh, Jesus.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know what? I
Ooh.
could not even.
Mm.
And then the judge want to want to throw gasoline on the fire.
Oh, it would have
Talking
been.
about,
I would. You know what? You can do whatever you want to right there, right? When he said that, I don't even know if I would have went to court. I don't even think she would have made it to court. I'm just gonna say. I'm just gonna. I'm not even gonna do. I'm just gonna say.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just in Cassie land.
No,
I'm eating. I'm gonna eat that
no,
ass up. Mm-mm.
no,
In
baby,
Cassie
no.
land.
Right.
Ain't gonna be
No.
no, because I already know in their system. it'll never be justice.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that in Cassie land, you have to take justice into your own hands because you're not
Mm-hmm.
going to get it in their land.
Right. No. No. And that
Ain't no
I
wouldn't have
could
been no
not
court.
I could not even fathom
Wouldn't have been no
that.
court.
No, it would be no. She going
Mm-mm.
her and any. If I found out where she live at, all them motherfucking chinks are dying.
Every last one.
Every last one,
Yeah,
because I
100%.
wouldn't be able to take. And you know damn well once you got the verdict, that they laughed their ass off when they got
Oh
home.
yeah, they did. But that's okay because it wouldn't have been no her to laugh nothing off. Because it wouldn't have been no her.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm reaping what you reaping what you just sowed. You
And
didn't think it
that
would have
reminded.
came up?
You remember Emmett Till and the trial and how these
Yeah,
white folk were
yep.
just smiling
That's
and
not see that wouldn't have
no,
happened. I'm just saying.
yeah,
Sometimes
you
you
know,
got to take stuff into your own hands, and them crackers know. They know. You remember this movie? Hold on. This was a movie, and it the deep state. God, it was a movie where a police officer shot a black boy, right? And his
right.
brother was so angry. His brother uh went out and killed the police that killed his brother, right?
Wow, yeah,
Because the trial went crazy. They couldn't
right,
even get no justice. So what
right.
ended up happening at the end, the police officer that was investigating the brother, who killed the other police officer, he came to
And
his
found them
house.
not guilty.
He came, well, hold on. They found him not guilty, but hold on. So he went, the police officer was investigating the murder that he did,
Yeah,
right? So
right.
he told the brother, he said, you know what, you a different type. He said, you're a different type of nigga. He said,
Mm,
money didn't matter to you. He said, it's two kinds. He said, the one that want money and the one that want justice. He said, you
mm,
didn't want no money. All they had to do was give you justice and you would have been
mm.
fine. That's how
Yeah,
he knew that he killed that police officer.
yeah,
He said, because
yeah.
you didn't want no money. He said, I know you
Mm,
did it. He said, you didn't want no, you didn't go after money. You wanted
mm.
justice. You wanted
Justice.
revenge. And that's what he did. But the dude, the actor, he didn't even acknowledge one way or another. But I
Yeah,
remember that when the guy said that, because it is two type of people. It's one that want justice and one that want money.
mm, yeah.
I don't know.
Remember that. Hold on. Sometimes I get ants crawling on me.
That's okay.
Little ant, not big ant, the little
Little
ant.
thing. Yeah, that's okay.
But remember this? It was a cop in Hawaii. I think it was Chinese cop, some
Hmm.
whatever.
Hmm.
And he was raping and raping and raping and raping and getting away and getting away and getting away. And then he finally got caught up.
Hmm.
And when the judge came back with a 200-year sentence, he broke down
Ain't
in
that
court and
something?
started crying.
Ain't
Yes.
that something?
I'm going to find that video. You need to, because that man, I like, how the fuck do he keep getting away with some shit that he should have gotten away, he shouldn't have gotten away with
Wasn't he
first time?
raping black women or something? Was this in Hawaii?
Yeah,
Because it
yeah,
happened in the
yeah.
states too. It
Basically,
happened in the states too. It was in the states too.
it-
Peter Lee, was it Peter Lee? But he no, it was no, it was a cop that was raping black women, and he always told them they would never believe you. So he was raping.
yeah,
Oh, he raped so many of them, but he finally got
yeah,
caught and went to jail. Yeah, it
yeah.
happened here in the states too.
Okay, okay. But I think that one, it might have been more. I'm pretty sure it was more than one. But I think that one took place in Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken. But
Okay,
I'm not.
okay,
I don't remember well.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Here we go. So we're on page 35. We need to start speaking to our children as though it were, and not as we see them now. And then you go up to Hebrew 11, verse 1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And I got another smiley face. We have to learn how to speak things into existence. That's powerful right there, right? And then you go on to say on page 37, the time when we feel our children not start acting out a negative feeling, sometimes they're trying to tell us something is wrong, like we just talked about. If you're busy working all the time, something is going undone. And then you go on to say you just don't want to pick up or be bothered with your own child. Kids don't kids don't or can't raise themselves. And then you go on to cite Proverbs 26, 22, and 6. Train up a child, and that's what I was trying to find. I was I thought I had mentioned it before, but it was this part that instilled in me that my parents told me, not to steal and all that. Train up a child in the way in which it should go, and and when she is old, he will not depart from it. And then you end that particular chapter with, if you're leaving marks, that is abuse. If you're leaving emotional scars, that is abuse. Teaching our children moral. Now, I wanted to get some kind of a clarity because if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. You believe that, or is that something different from what you were just saying? If you're leaving marks, because I left a lot of marks.
And my
I,
mom did too, but it wasn't teaching me. That was not
but
love.
it was with love, not mark where it was just so
No, it was
degrading.
marks. When I say when
Oh,
you're
it was
leaving
mark,
marks,
mark,
to
mark.
me, it was marks because my mom used the stinging cords. Back in the day, they
Oh,
would
okay.
use stitching cords.
Welts,
Well,
welts.
yeah, they left
Okay,
wolves. That's not love.
okay.
You're
Yeah,
spanking out of
yeah, yeah,
anger.
yeah. Okay,
I didn't believe
right,
in leaving marks. I would spank, but they knew why. And then
right.
after they calmed down, I calmed down. Then I went back
Yeah,
to them and explained why.
yeah,
This is what
yeah,
we're gonna do, and you know the rules. This is
right.
what we're not gonna do, and this is what we're gonna do, and this is how we're gonna do it. But it was and I was very careful as far as what I said to my child. If I said something that I felt, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I don't mind apologizing. I did. I did. Hey, come here. I love you. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that, but I meant what I said. This is what I meant. This is what I meant to say.
Yeah,
So I'm going to
yeah,
correct it because
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
here to hurt you. I'm
Mhm,
still producing productive children. I'm still
right.
producing children that I'm not going to wound. Okay,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah,
important to produce kids that know that you love them, even though you got a spanking. You still know that I care. I'm not
yeah.
gonna beat you half to death and leave all
Right.
them bruises. That's not love to me.
Yeah,
That's abuse.
yeah,
So guess
yeah.
what? Because you do it and did it to me, they're gonna allow a man or a woman to whoop them. Their dad did not even spank them because they were
Okay.
girls. And he
Yeah.
felt that if I hit them, then they're gonna feel like their men are supposed to spank them. So he never
Mhm,
hit them.
yeah.
Never, ever, ever, ever. They don't even
No.
remember the time when they got a spanking from him.
Well, I spanked my daughters, but not that much because they didn't get too much in trouble. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
They're very, very good girls, and their mother did a good job.
Hmm.
But sometimes you got to lay down that law, baby.
But you know
'Cause
what? But he was so my daughters was so sensitive to their dads. The
right,
oldest, that was his
mm,
baby. Ooh, she couldn't do no wrong. So all he had to do
right,
was yell at her, and she was so
yeah,
sensitive. My daughter, my oldest, was so sensitive. He could raise his voice, and that hurt her feelings so bad that it was like
mm,
he took a belt
yeah.
and beat her half to death, right? And it was just that relationship that they had, and she didn't
And
want to disappoint him.
it just, in thinking about my aunt, my mother's sister,
Hmm.
she never spanked me.
Right.
And when she looked at me like, ooh,
Yeah.
that cut me
It's
deep,
a
boy.
it's a certain type of I had an aunt like that.
I
Yeah.
never
I had an
understand that.
aunt like that.
Man,
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yes.
Wait,
Yeah, I had
wait.
an aunt like that. I tell you, she
Yes,
loved
yes,
me and you felt the love from her, right? And you didn't
yes.
want to do anything to
And I
disappoint
didn't,
her.
I didn't want to disappoint her.
Nope.
You know what I
Didn't
mean?
want to disappoint.
Ever
But she was
again.
the only one I cared about. I didn't care about my mom. Be like, I don't care, disappoint her or not. I didn't care because I did feel the love. But from my aunt,
Right.
I felt the love. We had such a close relationship that I never wanted to disappoint her. And I
Yeah,
remember that
yeah.
one time I got that look and she was so disappointed. I. And I was like, and I cried just because she hurt my heart so bad just by me disappointing her. And I knew I had that right there was the worst whooping I could have ever gotten, and I didn't get a whooping.
Right. Well,
But I never,
I'm gonna tell you and share with you a funny story.
yeah.
I think I might have been 12, somewhere around there. And I was in the back room in my grandmother's home, and her son, my uncle, was standing over me, and he knew I was gonna cut that goddamn mattress with that razor blade, right? Cause I was kind of like bored and shit, and he was waiting for me to cut it, and as soon Cassie, Cassie, look at me now, look at me. As soon as I cut it, he said, "Mama." I said, "Oh shit, I'm in trouble now because I ain't saying he, Mama, he cut the goddamn mattress."
He
Oh
didn't say
shit,
it
I
like
knew
that, did
I was in a world of hurt.
he?
And when that ironing cord wrapped
Ooh,
around, you know
ooh,
how Richard Pryor said, he said it's like a whip, and then you
ooh,
think you're trying to
Lord.
run away, it grab you and bring you right on
Ooh,
back.
it bring you right
That
back.
yes,
Ooh,
that
that
was the
thing
worst
hurt so
ass
bad. The
whooping.
burning. Oh
That
God.
was the worst, Cassie.
Ooh,
That
man.
was the worst ass whooping. But I straightened
Yeah.
up. I was
Ooh,
too scared to cut my own beard off the hairs off my face when I got old enough. I had to say, Mom, can I shave?
you know what? I think we've all had those kind of experience, that one whooping that we never forget. And I did something similar to that. You know, you remember them guns that fire would come out of them? And they were like, because I've always had a fetish
The
with
fire
guns.
what now?
And it was a gun, right? You remember how back in the day we had a gun that you would like
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
fire, and the fire would come out. It was a
Right,
lighter,
right,
right?
right.
I always had fetishes with guns. I swear, I'm telling you, always.
Yeah.
And I remember my aunt had just got me, she was married to this guy, right? And he had that little lighter and he would always flick it. And I said, oh, I just wanted to touch it. And the first chance, and they would put it down. And I said, I'm going to get that, and I was having all these, I'm going to get it just to feel it. So I snuck it one day and I went in the bedroom, right? And my cousin was asleep. Her and I, she was a little older, maybe about 4 months older, but we were the
Right,
same
right.
age, right? So she used to sleep all day. She in there sleeping, and I'm playing with the gun, playing with the knife. I put it on, set it on, playing the curtains, right? I didn't put the, and I blew it out. It went out. Who would do this? Who would do this? I could have burned the whole damn house down. So I did it again, and the curtain went woof. And I was
Wow.
like, shit, the what? And I went in there. I said, I gotta tell somebody else. I was, Lord, that was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
worst whipping.
yeah.
So I go in the living room and I'm sitting there and I'm standing. Now curtains in there burning, right? My cousin sleeping under the curtain. It wasn't
Yeah,
nobody.
yeah.
I'm telling you, it was a universe with her. And I said, the curtain's on fire. Like I told him just like that.
Oh shit. Oh
Um,
shit.
well, the curtain on fire. I'm so scared. She said, "What?" She jumps in the room. She goes back there. You got all the curtains literally on
Right,
fire.
right, right,
And
right,
it
right.
looked like it had to be a whole 15 minutes. And the curtains burning. I'm so surprised that whole room didn't. I'm telling you, the house, because it took me
Yeah.
that long to go out there. Was the universe? I'm telling you. So of course she's still asleep. Curtains burning. She's still under the curtain sleep. And they jump in there and where's the gun? And I hid it. I don't know what happened. I'm the only one in there. My cousin sleep. Man, I will never forget that beat down. I got it from my aunt. I got it from my mom. Oh, I just was like, oh my God, can this day get any worse? It was the worst day ever. I'll never forget it. I think we've all had one of them days.
I feel you because you know certain things. Yeah, certain
You
things
never
in life
forget.
just you know what I mean, just stick out. And when you looking back, like
And
damn.
that was the most painful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so now uh, we're gonna wrap it up on this chapter, not the book yet.
Okay.
Hold on, because you're saying the next thing you say is, let's not forget that discipline. This is on page 40. That discipline and quality time is very important.
Yeah.
Teaching our children morals. Now you go into the next chapter where it said the heading is, what happens when a child doesn't get the proper love and concern. And you start out by saying self-hate, and that is very important.
Mm,
Self-hate is another phase a child could go through. And then you go down, sometimes they never heal from that loss of that lost love if God isn't in their life. Without being taught how to love, it will affect how they love later.
that's right.
On page 45, we are to protect at any cost. Sometimes we don't know how to love because we've
Never done it.
never had love. And then you go on to cite Proverbs 18:21. Death and life is very, very, very powerful. Death and life is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. And then on page 47, going to page 50. On page 47, it says, But time just got away from her and life got in the way. You're talking about Tabitha and the dreams of her. And
Yeah.
then I cite on page 48, I got another smiley face. Hold on. Uh, I got a cool ass smiley face. It look like that. It says, so in the meantime, basic things were not taught, such as how to dream, how to plan for the future, and definitely not how to pay bills and save money.
Right.
And then you go down to, it was hard for her, for Tabitha, to move forward, and every decision or move that Tabitha made was through a broken lens. And then you go on to say she was just afraid to move forward and abstain. And then it says, I'm sorry. Then it says, what is a dream? What is your dream, and how are you going to abstain or probably obtain your dream or obtain your dream?
Obtain. Obtain.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then right, and then it goes on to, but if you give up, you will never get it. We need to learn how to be persistent. That's another virtue. Learn how to be patient, which is a virtue, and stand on God's word, which involves patience. God's word, no matter what. We can't walk in fear because fear will paralyze you. It will stop you right in your track, and you will never get or walk in what Yeshua has for you. You will find that that's where you will make your million. Yeshua doesn't place that gift in you. I got a question. I got an exclamation point for that. For nothing. We have to be encouraged to know that we deserve Yeshua's best, and we will not accept anything less than Yeshua's best. Uh, and hold on, I gotta make sure I highlight this again. It's in black. Hold on. And yes, sometimes we can get so discouraged and feel we will never get to the promise, but we have to keep encouraging ourselves and them that it's not going to be this hard always.
Always.
So if you want to, let me include this. And then on the page, on page 52, it says, we need to show our children what we do in life and that anything and everything is possible. My addition. No matter what someone says about them, they can and will. That's the operative word. Anybody can do anything, but will you do it is another thing. They can have it and will, by their will, get it. We have to teach our children how to encourage themselves, and in spite of all, they need to keep trying. They can speak a word to you when, no, excuse me. The enemy will use anyone and anything to try to stop, distract, and detour you, excuse me, from your destiny. We have to just keep believing and keep positive people around you that can speak life into you, that give you speak a word to you when needed, or speak life into you when needed. So I'll stop it there, and then I'll let you expound on that.
Wow, you said a mouthful on that one, but
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm gonna show you why I said what I said. Let's talk about the believing in the blessings and speaking
Right,
positive words over your children. That is so important for you to be praying for their mates. I pray for their future. I pray for their lives. I pray for them every day, the safety, because I know that when they weren't with me, I needed them covered. I needed them to come
right,
home to me. I wanted to make sure that every part of their life was covered, so we would do the family prayer. Um, and even with when you talked about the jobs and raising your children, you can't have three jobs and still produce productive children. You're not spending time with them. And I remember a young woman, I'll never forget her. She asked, she was, talking about her child, her son. She had 3 kids and she had 3 jobs, and she was talking about her baby. And I said, well, what's going on with her baby? And she said, oh, he just is acting up. And I said, well, why? What is going on? I said, well, when the last time are you spending time? That's what I asked her, because that's a lot of times when I feel like a lot of parents aren't spending time with their children. Their children are very angry because you're not there. They feel unloved. You're not filling their love tank. There's 5 love languages, and you're missing that love language with that child. Now, the first 2, you might have fed their love language because it might be something that it was part of you, gifts. So you would give gifts so that you was filling the love tank. But this child needed her time. So this was the baby, and he was acting out, and it was because she wasn't spending time. Okay, teaching our children how to love themselves, and like I said, speaking life over your child is so important. Even having dreams and that vision board. I always told my daughters, even growing up, I said, I need you to write a vision board out for your life. I needed them to have dreams. I needed them to have aspirations. I needed them to be headed someplace. So every year, I would say, when they would say, for instance, 9th grade, I said, hey, what's your vision for this year? And I would get them a vision board, and they would write out their vision. Okay, what do you want to do? Whether it being school or they wanted a toy. Okay, if they wanted something, well, what's your plan to get it? And I was teaching them how to be persistent, and sometimes it takes time. Okay, for instance, I wanted to go to Africa, and I said every year I was saying, oh, for 3 years I was talking about going to Africa, and then I said I'm gonna go to Africa. I'm gonna go this year in October, and October came and went, and I looked up, I hadn't went, and I said, what am I doing wrong? So the second year I said I'm going to Africa, but I still was doing the same thing, nothing, right? So October came and went, I still didn't go. The next year I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start putting money away. So what did I do different? I started preparing. I started saving money. I started putting things aside. I started buying up clothes. I got my ticket. I
Right.
started activating, right?
Activating,
Okay,
yeah.
I activated the faith because I started doing it. Faith without works is dead, right? There's no faith. So that's the one thing. And then we talked about a gift. Gifts is your what the universe or what God or whatever you call him has placed in you, and it's not work. It's something easy that you do. It's never work. So if I'm walking in my gifts, it's like I'm getting up having fun. I'm walking in what he created me to do every day. For instance, if you're an entrepreneur, you got your own business, it's not work. That's your gift. That's your millions. If you're a baker, you're baking every day. You're going to work and you're baking. That's not work. That's a gift. If you're cutting hair, you love hair, you're doing hair. That's a gift. That's not work. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if we
Mm-hmm.
have you're living your best life because you're walking in your gifts. Okay. So then let's talk about one more thing. I remember I was having a house built, right? And their dad had died. It was just me and the girls. And I wanted this house, and I kept talking to my girls about it. I said, we're gonna get a house. I kept talking to them about this. And I started putting things in place. I started bringing boxes home, right? Was in this apartment, and we started bringing boxes in, and I said, I wrote down my bills that I need to pay off. I was fixing my credit. I was doing everything so that I wouldn't have anything that's going to stop me from getting this house. So I
Yeah.
started packing. I started doing hair on the side, and I was making extra money. And if my clients would come in and they go, hey, where you moving? I said, they go, oh, you moving? I said, yeah. I didn't know where. I said, yeah, I'm
Right.
moving. They said, where are you moving? I said, I don't know. I said, but this time next year I won't be here. I started
Yeah.
every time they asked me. So okay, so I went to the store one day and I found this house book. You remember book houses? It
Yeah.
was a book. So
Mm-hmm.
one time I saw this house and I said, oh my God, when it's time, that's what I wanted. So I looked at the address and I said, I'm going to see the house. I went to the house. I started paying off bills, right? I went to the house and went down the street, looked at the house, and I said, I want it. So, but waiting before then, I was looking at used houses, I was looking at townhouses, I was looking at other things and what it's a house, right? So then I
Yeah.
was thinking, and I would go by the little townhouse and nobody would call me. I would write it down, write the number, write my letter. Nobody ever called me. I said, why these people won't call me? And it was in my spirit. That's not what you asked me for. Whoa, hold on here. Wait a minute. Back up, Cassie. So I said, okay, that's when I got the book and I started looking through the book and I found the house. I drove down there to look at the house, the area where they were building those houses. And I walked in the house. I said, this is what I want. The lady went back to the realtor's house or the office. And she said, well, I said, write up the contract. I had no money. No money. The lady I asked her, I said, well, wrote the contract, and she asked me, she said, well, the builder's gonna want you to put down some money. I said, well, I have $200. We're getting the house built from the ground up, right? I had no idea. I said, ask him if he'll take. I would always do stuff that was just so out of the ordinary, right? And I told the realtor, I said, dealing with me, it's not going to be the norm. You cannot expect the norm. It can't. I made sure she understood that. So I told her, I said, tell him I'm gonna put 200 down. She said, you at least got to put 500, 500. I said, I don't have that. I said, ask the builder. I'm not asking you. Ask the builder. This is what I got. Can I put $200 down? She came back to me a couple days later. She said, yes. So I started building the house from the ground up with $200 down. I had no idea where I was going to get that $10,000 that I was going to need. I only had $200. Do you understand the dream? And I'm telling my daughters, they was watching this every step of the way, and I would be running because I used to drive all the time. I would run, and they running with me. And I said, "It's not going." I said, "What you see today, it's not going to be like this always." I used to always tell them that this is just for a season. I said, it's not going to be like this time next year.
Walk by faith and not by sight, right?
Exactly. And that's what I
Mm-hmm.
did. That's all I knew how to do.
Yeah,
And guess
yeah.
what? We got that house.
Everything when you stop worrying,
Right. Yep.
like the universe comes to you
Yes.
and brings all the things and all the people that you need to manifest the thing that you want to exist into the present moment. Ain't that a bit? That's about as simple as it can get.
But I'm gonna tell you what, sometimes it's still not easy because he's testing your faith just to see if you really believe that you're
Okay.
gonna get what you put your mind on. And I'm gonna tell you what, I remember they was building the house, they was building it, and up until the week before they got done, and I still didn't have anybody to finance that house. It was built July 4th is when I moved in, but it was done in June, like the 10th.
Right.
I still had, but I said, God, I know that it's going to be through somebody that knows somebody. So I started talking and telling people what I needed. Here I go. I'm speaking it. I'm walking in it. I'm
Yeah,
if I don't ask, I don't get, right. Remember that? So I
yeah.
started asking, hey, does anybody know accountant? Does anybody know a builder? I mean, not a builder, but does anybody know of a mortgage person? Because I thought I had it financed. The guy got fired. He quit. He took the paperwork with him. So I had no copies, right?
Mhm.
And knew better. But so anyway, couldn't use him. I was starting from scratch as far as the mortgage company. And I found a lady I used to do her hair for. Her husband was an accountant who
Mhm.
knew a mortgage person. She was a broker. So she
Right.
knew brokers all over the country. So she found me the mortgage people in California. That's how I found and got my house
Mhm.
financed. I'm telling you, because
Right.
the
Right.
broker, and I had saved up so much money for this house because I was working, I was like, but I was still home, but I was doing hair at the time. And I
Mhm.
saved every dime, and I saved over $10,000 trying to get that house. I guarantee, I swear, $10,000. And the lady said, if she got that much money, I'm gonna finance her.
And you know what? You know what? You know
Oh,
what?
$200.
You just didn't just sit there and dream all this shit. You were working toward
I
it.
worked that thing, honey. Yes, I did. Yes, I
Yes,
did.
yes, ma'am.
I'm
And
telling
that's
you,
the point. That's the triggering point. That's the catalyst to
right?
get to where you wanted to be.
Yes. I didn't just sit there.
Faith without work is
Dead.
dead.
It ain't happening.
And if you just sat there and just
It would have
dreaming
never
all
happened.
these dreams, that's
That
what
would,
it would have been just a dream.
yep,
But you
exactly.
worked toward it,
I worked that.
and the people that came to you after you done got to a certain point,
Yeah,
oh, I can help her
yeah.
because she doesn't
Yep.
help herself.
And that's exactly because that lady said if she got this much money, I'll
I,
finance her.
I
And
find,
that's
yeah.
and guess what? It was financed within a week. I,
Hmm.
the house was built in June. I moved in July 4th. I'm telling you, I know what the universe will do. I didn't experience it. You can't
And
tell me I didn't
you're
experience it.
perfect. You're the perfect witness to that.
And
And
yeah,
I was just about to get into how you, yeah. But we're gonna cover that. Well, you just covered it, so we don't really have to cover it. But we're gonna recover it. Now, hold on. So we're gonna fast forward to this. We're on page 55. Now we're gonna go to 54 because you were talking about Matthew chapter 21, verse 22. And it says, in all things, whatsoever you shall ask in prayer, believing you shall receive. You just proved that. And it goes on to page 55. This is where I got a smiley face. Our children's support system, not only financially, but emotionally. We have to train our children how to invest money. If that don't get it, I don't know what does. And it goes on. It used to be a time if you had experience, but not the degree, you could get training on the job. And then it goes on page 56. This is the one I love. Become financially free. Faith works. Page 57. At the time, I didn't have the money. This is what you're talking about. You just talked about it. At the time, I didn't have the money, nor was my credit good enough to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go on to page 59. After I picked out the land and the house,
Mm-hmm.
I was told I needed to put down $2,000.
Yep.
I had only $200, and she stated that I could put that down and pay on it until I paid it down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
Mm-hmm.
applied for a loan and got turned down by 5 different banks. Now,
That's right.
obviously, if you're coming in with just $200, uh, you know what I mean? But I understand. I understand a bank. And then it says, but but um, reinforces that is
Yeah.
that, but in spite of that, you knew that Yeshua's word is true,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to stand on his word.
Yes.
Now, my faith, your faith was being tested.
Yes, it
It was
was.
a faith thing that I needed to totally trust God, not to worry. And, we get mad at God and give up sometime, and then we get back on the right track,
Yeah.
and it alters our faith to
Yeah.
whatever degree it may be. And that's because you're allowing the devil to come in.
Yeah.
That's why I got the smiley face. The devil can't take your promise away that God promised you.
That's
Let
right.
me say that again. The devil can't take your promise away that God promised you. But what he does is make the situation look like
Yeah.
God's not going to come through,
And he
and
makes
we
it
start
last.
doubting him.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That's where I put the smiley face because
I walk that
sometimes
thing
you
out,
think,
honey.
yeah, sometimes when you think it ain't happening, it's happening, but
It's
it's
happening.
happening at a slower rate.
Right. Or
You
behind the
can't,
scenes that you can't even see it.
yeah, you can't, because you just called it into existence.
Yes. Yeah.
Now you got to put all the elements into
Right.
its proper place
Right.
in order for the engine to run, in
Right.
order for what is the power chain or train
Right.
or chain
Right.
to get the wheel going.
Yeah.
All that works together. The wheel just don't turn by themselves.
Nope. No, it doesn't. No.
Okay.
But I was
Now we
also
go on.
teaching my children
Right.
about it.
We go
Faith.
on to page 63, where you
Mhm.
talk about two parts of the Bible, Peter and Psalm. Psalm 5, 7. I'm sorry, Peter 7 and Psalms 55:22. Cast your cares upon him, for he careth for you. And Psalm 55, verse 22. Cast thy burdens upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Now, this is why I wrote ask. I'm trying to, let me read it, then it'll probably come up. Uh, we need to be taught and teach our children how not to worry and understand this is not our life that we are living. We're living this life for God. And when we do it His way, we come out on top. So, what do you mean we're living this life for God? Let me start with that.
When I say that, for me, you have to understand the mind frame at the time. I had just saw a miracle.
Okay,
I had just saw a miracle. So
okay,
but before I got the miracle, I was walking out of faith in and out. I was like, "Oh my God, you said
okay.
you do it," and he would show me he was gonna do it, and then I would speak about it.
Mhm.
Sometimes you got to be
Yeah, keep
quiet,
your mouth closed.
and
Yeah,
when I began to keep my mouth shut, things would move. But then
Yeah.
when I would talk about it, it would fall apart. And he
Yeah.
was showing me, be silent. Sometimes you
Yeah.
gotta move in
Right.
silence
In
because other
silence.
people
Yeah.
hear that and they're looking at you. Hey, you're a young mom. You got, you got these kids. How you getting this house built from the ground up? So they start doing this. Okay, in your ear.
Yeah.
You
And
can't
you
get
can't
this.
share everything with everybody.
You cannot. I begin to learn that. Every time I
Mm-hmm.
would shut up, I would get it would
Yeah.
move, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
just was hush about it. I stopped talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I began to see the miracle. But
Right.
until, but that's the part, because at first I remember going to the house. It was built. It was like, and I was sitting on the stairs of the house, but it was not built yet. It was still, and I was still trying to find the financing. And I remember going
Mm-hmm.
out there that day, and I said, God, I just need to know if this is really what you have for me. I sat there.
Right.
My kids was out. They was out there playing, and I sat on my step. And my daughter came to me, and I think it's in the book. My daughter came to me, and I had a piece of paper in my hand, and I had apartments in my hand. I was looking for apartments, and she said, "Now what this my daughter was probably sixth grade, and she saw the apartments in my. She said, "Mommy, what's this?" And I said, "Well, I didn't want to say nothing." She said, "Look like apartments. You looking for an apartment?" She said, "But I
Mm-hmm.
thought you said we had a house. Why are you
Mm-hmm.
looking for apartments?" And she said, "You told us we had a house. We got a house. What in the world?" So that right there was for me. She didn't even know what she was talking about. She
Right.
said, "You said we had a house." So I had to keep that faith for her because she was
Right.
watching me. So I, of
Right.
course, I couldn't let that go. I had to
Mm-hmm.
stand on that faith no matter what. I
Right.
needed
Yeah.
her to see that
Yeah.
we had a house. And
Wow.
when
Yeah.
she looked at that paper, I did just like this. I said, "Baby,
Mm-hmm.
you're right." I said, "We got a house." That's what I needed to boost
Mm-hmm.
my faith
Right.
back to that level.
Right.
And he
Right.
used
Right.
my baby
Right.
out of the
Don't
mouth.
diminish it. Stay where you are. Stay here, but don't
Right.
bring it down to something that is not what you want.
Exactly.
Stay here, and everything that need to be done and said, and the people that you need to bring into that area of blessing will come, and that empty pot will be filled, and you will
Exactly.
move to where you want to be. Ain't that something?
That's so when I did that, I,
Yeah, you got
that's all I needed.
all that don't count.
It was
Yeah,
almost like she gave me the gas, the rest of the gas I
yeah.
needed to move forward.
That's it. That's it.
And when
And
she
here
said
you
that,
and
I was
here you're confirming it right here.
I said, okay, yep,
Uh, right. You said we need to also work on having more of a positive attitude, no matter what.
no matter what.
We have to remember that only what we put out comes back our way. Therefore,
Yep.
being negative will only get us negative results and responses.
Yes.
Proverbs 18:21 tells me that death and life
Don't play with me.
are
Yes.
in the power of the tongue, and we really need to watch what we say, even when we call ourselves joking.
Right. Gotta watch
Always
it.
give people the benefit of a doubt.
Yes.
Now, hold on. Hold on. We're gonna get this. 'Cause I love, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Everything that you put in this book just registered and resonated with the frequency in which I know I deserve
Yes.
and where I want to be.
Yes.
And even if I don't have what I want,
Yes.
I know I can have it because I am calling it into existence through faith and working toward it.
Yep.
Because having faith without work is
That there.
dead.
It won't
Dead like a motherfucker. They're
there
in the morgue and they ain't never going nowhere.
ain't never getting up. Nope.
No,
There.
they'll
You
never
have to
get up.
walk it out.
And then you go on to page 67. Don't even allow man to belittle you and make you feel small or make you do something you don't feel comfortable in doing.
All right.
That's anybody. But
That's
for a
anybody.
man in
Yes.
your experience,
Right.
that's what that is. It's so important to be whole.
Yes.
You
So
have
important.
children now who need all of you, the whole of you.
Mm-hmm.
They need your time,
Yep.
your money, and your attention. Now, you know what? I would, um, where did I see that at? I think I was on Facebook, but anyway, wherever I saw it, it said when children are small, I want to make sure they love to them is spelled Time.
Yes. Yep.
That hit me like a brick. I
Yep.
refer back to what you were talking about.
Yep.
Your attention, your time.
Your time.
That is so very important. Right.
Yep.
And then you go on to say, remember, they are like sponges. What you put out is going in. On page 71. She doesn't I don't know. Well, let me go back. When does it all end? Our boys are angry at mom, teachers, women, bosses, and then when they marry, they are angry with their wives. She doesn't have a clue. The wife doesn't have a clue as to why he is so angry, mean, and spiteful and hateful and mad. And then you go on to page 73. It says, we have to raise the bar and start expecting the best from these men or these little boys who become men and not allow anything less. Some of our little men have been taught by the neighborhood drug dealers, playboy dads, and uncles. That's powerful. There is no communication, no interaction with his son because he had no interaction with his dad. He teaches his son about life, how to survive, and how to be there for his wife and not his baby's mama. Men, you need to do more. And then it goes on to page 76 where I wrote ask. And then you say, well, let me start it from the beginning. We need to start teaching our boys how important it is to be leaders and not weak runaway dads. In the area of divorce, this the worst one yet. We have both men and women abandoning their own flesh and blood because of their own selfishness. And then on page 77, to a child, a divorce is just like death. And I agree. Their life will never be the same. How can you be a father to someone else's child and not yours if you get a divorce and trying to raise somebody else's child? And then the last of that chapter on page 79, you say, don't just leave it up to the parent that has custody to take care of your child. You feel that you're helping that mate by helping your child. A phone call once a week to check on that child means more than anything to that child. They grow up to be healthy, whole, and here's the secret word, whole adults. Try it. It really works. You want to go into that?
Wow, you said a lot. Let's talk about first the gifts of our child. We talked about the gifts, the five love
Yeah,
languages,
right.
and it's so important to really understand the love languages. And I read that book years back on a child's love language, and I found out which one my oldest was gifts. I could do a
Okay.
gift, give her a gift, and she was, oh my God, I loved her.
Mm,
So that's filling her tank. And my baby was pretty quality time, and that's what I was. So we could
right.
sit on the couch and we could just talk, or we could
Right.
watch a movie. And we
Yeah.
did both. We would watch a movie, and I would get like some food or pizza or whatever. That's
Mm,
gifts. That's
yeah.
that's spending
Yeah.
quality time. And
Right.
then I would also fill my oldest up with her love language, which, like I said, was buying her gift, which could have been a candy bar, or which could have been a
Mm,
pair of shoes, or a necklace, or even a
mm,
dollar store toy, a bat
yeah.
ball, or
Yeah.
something for
Yeah.
a jump
Yeah.
rope. It
Are they
didn't
still make batting ball?
yeah, yeah, dollar stores, yeah.
Remember that click clack?
Yes, yeah, the batting ball when the kids do it,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
make all of
Okay.
that, and it didn't take a lot of money to do it. It was just that was her love language. It was always
Mm,
gifts, so you could buy
mm,
her a gift, and she was fine. It rather cost $1 or $5. She didn't care.
right.
Then
right.
let's talk about the men and why I talk about it takes both parents to raise a child.
Yeah,
It's so important. And white folk knew this. They
yeah,
knew this. They
yeah.
know how important. And I read the story about the elephants. Have you ever read the story about the elephants? I think I might have put it in my book about how they came and took the male elephants away. They separated the male elephants from the women and children, okay, and the
Right,
babies.
right.
So the baby elephants begin to get bigger and they begin to terrorize the
Yeah.
neighborhood.
But you know what? That's a real video
Yes, it is.
yeah. I seen that. Yeah, yeah. You're right.
They begin to
They
terrorize.
became delinquent.
And yes, and then the
Yeah.
zookeepers was like, what is going on?
Right.
White folk know. They know how important our
Right.
men are. We don't
Mhm.
understand how important our men are, but we better find out because
Mhm.
what our children are suffering with right now is the lack of fathers. They got their moms, they had their moms forever, but it's the
Right.
dad's love that they need.
Right.
So the moral of the story, they said, hold on, the males are the ones that pretty much lead the family. Ain't that it?
Hmm.
The
Right.
kings,
Yeah.
you got the kings, the
Right.
family is straight,
That's
right?
great.
But when
Yeah.
you take the head and put the head over here, it's
Yeah.
dysfunctional, right? So you
Right.
have black families have a dysfunctional family because the
Yeah.
men, the women are in the head and the men are over here
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of here.
Yeah. Right.
You
Right.
understand?
Right.
So
I
we're
understand.
looking at dysfunction. When the men get back in place, when the men get back in
Right.
place, the
Mhm.
family will straighten up,
Get
right?
back in.
So
It'll fall into place. Yeah.
it'll fall in place because the presence of a
Mhm.
man is everything. So
Right.
until our men get back in their places, this is what you're going to see with our children. This is what you're seeing now. You're seeing a mess. You're seeing a whole mess. Why? Because
Right.
our families are out of order. Okay. White folk
Right.
knew that. That's why they told you they took the jobs from the men. They put drugs in our neighborhood. They began to lock them up, right? And then they dangled the BBT in the women's faces. Say, okay, get rid of your men, right? We're gonna give
Right.
you this half of a check that ain't gonna do nothing for you for real. But they thought it was really gonna do something. But what the key was to keep your families together, to keep your men and the men running the household. And just don't even worry about the checks. We're gonna come together and do this together because two
Yeah.
paychecks is better than one, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
That's not what
That's
they
the point.
white folk knew this, so they knew let's move the men out the way. And guess what? The black family is a
Yeah.
result of what they
Yeah.
did by
They
removing the
fall.
man out the house.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
done.
Right. Right. Um, on page 80, what you were talking about, the positive male role model.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I like the fact that I don't know, you might want to clarify this, but I think you're speaking. I think you were speaking on and speaking to your Indian spirit, your powwowing. We are the indigenous people of America, so that is. But keep that in your mind for a minute, and then you go on page 81. Why pass on the same generational dysfunction? And it goes on page 83. Hold on, let me get back to 82 to fill in because I don't want to leave nothing out. Um, it says, why and how do you go through life and know you have a son and never acknowledge that child and let him grow up, not ever having that relationship with him? Having a positive role model for your child to talk to look up to, may save your child's life. And that is very true. Without that positive role model, your child will look for negative attention. Let's face it, they will get that attention one way or another.
Right.
Women, we need to stop thinking we can provide everything for our children without their dad.
Mm-mm.
If we want things to be different, we need to do things different. And then you go, hold on, let me see, because I wrote, how you know? Hold on, let me go back. On page 84 at the bottom, it says, we then wonder why our sons are disrespecting us and our daughters as well as disrespecting themselves. Look around and what do you see? 50% of Hebrew Israelites, and I love that. Now you know I'm gonna I'm gonna harp on that one. Hebrew Israelite culture don't have males in the home. And I'm not just talking about living together, I'm talking about marriage. And that's one of the things. How did you know that? But keep the powwowing in your mind and keeping the Hebrew Israelite culture. And then I'm going to read this last part, and then you can expound on that. It says we need to get back to the basically. We are not helping by just letting Tom, Sam, and Bob be around our children, so we can say we have a man. I've heard the saying, "A half a man is better than none." How about we get whole first, so then we can attract a whole man? And here we go again. That word whole. What happened to just one woman or just one man? And I agree. You know, one good woman is better than 10. So I'm going to stop there, and then you can get into the powwowing, and then the Hebrew Israelite culture thing, and how you know that.
Let's talk about when you talked about the sons. A woman cannot. I don't believe a woman can raise a son. I believe that only a man can do that. I can teach him as far as what kind of woman to attract to him. I can't teach him how to pee. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah, yeah.
cannot teach him the very important parts that a dad is there to teach him to be a protector, a provider, a father. I can't teach him that. I can only teach him the part of what kind of woman that he wants to attract to himself. So if I'm whole, he's going to have a whole wife. But if
All
I'm
right. Yeah.
cussing him out, because a woman, remember, a mother can say something to her son that can destroy him. Just one word can destroy
Yeah.
him for life. It can
Mm-hmm.
change him totally to understanding about himself. It could ruin his self-esteem. It could ruin who he thinks he is as a man.
Mm-hmm.
One word. That's how much power we as women have over our sons. And if that dad is not there, I believe that at the age of 10, and I'm gonna just go there when we talked about the baby mamas and the baby fathers and being fathers and being husbands instead of baby daddies. Now, if you are a husband, the power of a male presence in that home makes a huge difference. I don't believe that our children will be acting and looking and speaking and talking and dressing the way they look if the dad was in the house to regulate that house. The
Mm-hmm.
black men totally, and I'm not talking about any, I'm talking about black folks. That
Mm-hmm.
house is disruptive, is dysfunctional because the head, the king, the presence of a man is not there. The presence
Mm-hmm.
of that man is everything. And I believe that instead of you leaving, if you want to leave, you leave, but you take him with you.
We'll
I
take them.
believe that we as women, we raise him up until 10, from 0 to
Yeah.
10, and
Yeah.
from 10 to 20, he needs to be with his dad.
Right. Right.
That way
Yeah.
he gets that balance. If
Balance.
they
Yeah.
cannot stick together and live in the same household.
Right. Right. Yeah. I
Right?
agree. I agree. Would you consider if a woman is how you say that? I don't know if denigrating is the right word or bad mouthing,
Yes.
but would you
Yes.
consider that to be
Well,
emasculating a man,
that's
a little boy?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You can when you cussing him out and you so and so you act just like your daddy and he ain't no good and he did that. What are we doing? Stop
Right.
it.
Right.
Stop. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do
Mm-hmm.
that. That's don't. That's still his dad. That's still part of him. So if you telling
Mm-hmm.
him that his dad is
Yeah.
no good and
His
you
dad
act
ain't
like
shit.
your
You
daddy,
ain't shit.
exa-
All you motherfuckers ain't.
so what are you saying? What are
Yeah.
you really saying? That's a big
Yeah.
no-no.
Yeah.
We don't
That's
do
gonna
that.
sink down into the mind of the little boy.
You're
Yeah. You're right.
destroying his self-esteem. Don't do that. And even for girls, if
Yeah.
you say, "Oh, I can't stand you," ain't number the hoe. Who are you talking to? Or calling him,
Right.
"Hey, you little bitch, come here." Who are you talking to? That's your daughter. How are you disrespecting her like that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
that relationship, your words is everything. If you call it, and I remember one time, my aunt, she was a cusser. And she would
Mm-hmm.
call her daughter some of the horriblest, and that would
Yeah.
bother me. And I would go home and say, "Ma, you know what? Whatever said to so and so," and my mom would be what, you know. And that would hurt. That hurt me so bad, even though she wasn't talking to me. I'm
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
pain that her
You're
daughter's
hearing
feeling.
that. Yeah.
Yes, and then I see the relationship today.
Yeah.
from what she called her, because that
Hmm.
hurt to the core. And
Yeah,
that's
of course.
not their relationship. But you have to understand the mom talked to her daughter like that because of her hurts in the past.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it was reverted and done today because it was
Mm-hmm.
done to her back in the past.
Back in the
But
yeah.
this is
Yeah.
what parenting on purpose means. If you
Right.
know how that made you feel, why would you say that same stuff to your daughter?
Right. Right. You know what? I remember a girlfriend of mine, and I was like 16, 17, and I would go to her really like a year after my father died, right? So I hold on for a second. I want to make sure I don't lose my spot. So I went to her house and just to meet her family and all of that, right? And it's like right out without any hesitation. Her mother was calling her bitches and her like, well,
Mm-hmm.
I was shaking like, what the fuck? I gotta get the fuck up out of here because there's too much negative energy coming up
Yeah,
in this bitch.
yeah.
Like
And
that.
just think if
You
you
know
had
what
a
I mean?
married
It's
her,
like,
just
I
think if you
couldn't
had a married
fathom how you would, yeah, how would you degrade your own daughter in
I
front of somebody that
that
they just met?
exactly. That
You know what I
behooves me
mean?
right there. That's just that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yes, and
That's
as soon as I
crazy.
got home, I had a talk with my. I don't want to say a long talk, but I had a decent, deep talk with my mother. Like
Yeah,
then, if she's like that, then she's gonna be like that. You don't want no kind of woman like that.
that's right, honey. If that's
You
how
know what
her
I
mom
mean?
is treating her, and I used to add, well, if you see a dad, coming in and the mom is cussing him out, and or she's beating her, you run from that
Yeah,
family.
yeah. That you run. Yeah,
That's
and that's
dysfunctional.
exactly what I did. I like automatically. I knew. You know,
Right.
I wasn't raised around that kind of
That's
negative
right.
energy. You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
So it wasn't. Uh, it wasn't
Nope.
fitting
Productive.
to my spirit. You know what I mean?
Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So we're gonna go. We hold that thought.
Yes.
We're gonna go on because this leads right into what we just talked about. It says so many of our men are not whole because of their incomplete lives. A young man I talked with in the prison where I work
Mm-hmm.
once told me when I asked, is it too late for you? He said, it's never too late, but just bring back the positive men, the men who are real, the men who really care about the youth. And I wrote boom because
Right.
it reminded me of a story of a young boy whose mother allowed him to do whatever he wanted to do whenever he wanted to do it, say whatever he wanted to say, and he ended up going to jail, being on death row. And to make a long story short, when he was in the court, not in the court, when he was in on death row, his mother had the last chance to speak with her son, and her the son, before he was injected with the poison to kill him,
Yeah.
he said, "You brought this upon me because you did not take the time
Yep.
to make sure
Yep.
that I was walking the path of
Yes.
justice,
Yes.
righteousness,
Yes.
and truth.
Yes.
And look at where I am.
Yep.
I know it's my fault. I know the difference between right and wrong,
Right.
but you
Yes.
never corrected
That's right.
me."
That's
That's
right.
powerful,
And
you know?
I remember that, and that's so
Oh,
powerful.
yeah,
That's so powerful. I had a student, and he was I taught I taught, but he came to me, and I remember when he first came to school, and I told him, I said, your attendance, because the meeting he was late. Always, every time we
mm,
would meet, he was late, and I said,
mm,
this is going to stop you from the nurses program that you want to get into. And I said, and then I talked about him, okay, we talked about turning in your homework, doing stuff on time. That was the main thing, his attendance. And he came the other day and he said, I'm out. I said, what happened? I said, what did you learn from this? He said, my attendance and turning in his work. Those were the very things that we talked about in
mm.
the beginning. And that's what ended up being his downfall.
Downfall,
So
yeah.
the moral of that story is if you see something that that's going to stop you from your
Mm.
future, from
Scripture,
a
yeah.
blessing from a
Right.
promotion, fix
Promotion,
it.
yeah,
Fix it.
yeah, fix it,
Because it's
fix
gonna
it.
stop you
Quick. Yeah,
quickly.
yeah,
Because it's gonna stop you.
yeah. And it reminds me too, because I'm a great let me take that back. Yeah, let me say that. I'm a great what's the word I'm looking for? I'm a great exponent or a proponent.
Uh-huh.
Forgive me, forgive my English.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
But there's a story between a donkey and uh, oh
A
shit,
horse.
a
A horse.
donkey and
A horse.
well, let's just change the story. A donkey and a horse, all right? So so the donkey was talking about, well, the grass is blue, the grass is blue, the grass is blue, the grass is blue. So no, and then the horse said, no, it ain't. It's green, it's green, it's green, it's green. And so they decided to go in front of the king, the lion, and to make a long story short, um, the, uh, uh, the, 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 um, the donkey was jumping up and down, jumping up and down, jumping up and down. It said, "Your Honor, I mean, Your Highness, the grass is green, the grass is blue, the grass is blue. Whatever other color other than what it is, right?" And so, uh, and then the horse was like, "No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's green. It's green. It's green." And so, uh, the king, the lion looked at the donkey after the donkey said, "You gotta punish the horse because he's thinking that the grass is green, and I know it's blue, it's blue, it's blue." And then the lion talks and it punishes the horse and tell him, "You got to be quiet and you got to pay $500." Just making it look like you know what I mean. And then the donkey goes on the way his way and says, "Yeah, the grass is blue, the grass is blue, the grass is blue." The moral of the story is sometimes you just got to keep your mouth shut and let a fool be a fool. You know what I mean? Because not everybody gonna see what need to be seen in order to know
Yep.
what need to be known.
But a lot of
You
times it's pride, and you have to feel like you have to say something. Sometimes it's not even one
That's it.
conversation.
Just to prove a point. A
Yeah,
pointless point, because goddamn well the grass is green.
exactly. So let
So
that
why?
fool look like a fool, and let
Right.
him keep saying the damn grass is blue when
You're,
everybody
you're, you're a bigger.
green ain't gonna
Yeah.
get
Matter
nobody.
of fact, the lion, the king said, "You're a bigger fool than he is because you know damn well the grass is green. So why are you
Exactly.
gonna ask? Why are you gonna argue with a fool?"
Exactly. Well,
I fell out on the floor. I was like,
even with
God,
that, that's a great point to make because sometimes people will try to agitate you on purpose,
yeah.
and you know what they're doing. Why would you
Hmm.
argue with a fool that's trying to agitate you? Don't let it bother you, and keep moving.
Right. Mm-mm. Well, you know what? I am going to say to you that we are twins. Yeah, I knew it. Look, I knew. I didn't know you, but I knew you. You know what I mean? The very first time with your friend on that, like, ain't this something? I know them. But I kept it quiet because I knew that you gonna start speaking and you're gonna do something that's gonna like, yeah, I was right. But hold on, let's go to page 91. They talk about the abandonment is felt so deeply that nothing you do later will matter,
Yeah,
especially if you left for another person and
yeah,
then created a vacuum, created another family, that vacuum, and forgot the first
yeah,
family.
yeah,
If you let God choose the right mate for you, marriage will be prosperous.
yeah,
And I say amen to that.
yeah,
And then it goes on to, I highlighted Matthew 6:33. It says, "But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you."
yeah.
And to close it out, that chapter, not the conversation, we're almost done. It says, "Remember how you treat your child when they are young
Come on
will
now.
be how they treat
You better say
you."
that louder. Say that
Yeah,
louder.
I got the smiling face. I said, and I look, and I will confirm that in a second.
Yes.
Remember how you treat your child
Yeah.
when they are young will be how they treat you
It
when
matters.
they are adults.
Yes. It matters.
And just to give you a confirmation, my mother died from about a year and a half ago or something like
Okay.
that. And she was suffering from dementia, and I didn't know shit about dementia. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And then, she was crapping on herself, pinning on herself.
Yeah.
I know that got to be the hell of thing that you got to
Yeah.
depend on somebody else to wipe your own ass.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I mean?
yeah.
But my mother,
Yeah.
that's the woman that gave me birth,
Yeah.
that brought me into life.
Yeah.
And I joke with her about that. Not that she booing on herself. I
Yeah.
like, I'm quite sure I got on your nerves when you were in my diaper. And
Yeah.
then 5 minutes later, I take a shit in it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Did
But I
your
didn't,
mom?
I
Yeah.
didn't
Was
care.
your mom in Dominic with you?
Yeah, huh?
Was she in the
Yeah,
Dominic
yeah,
with
yeah,
you?
yeah. I had to go back to Chicago
Yeah.
to go and get her and bring her
What
back here with my sister. My sister had just left back she moved back to Chicago.
What made
So,
you move to Dominic? What made you move there?
huh?
What made you move there to
Oh,
Dominic?
because my family is from here.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, my grandmother's sister, who would be my aunt,
Uh
because
huh.
she had a lot of, a lot of, my great aunt, let me take that back, my great aunt, not my mother's sister.
Uh huh.
That's my great aunt.
Uh huh.
Um, she lived here, and she told me to go to the Dominican Republic and go and find her. And it took me about 8 months
Oh
to find
wow.
her. I was bullshitting.
Lord have mercy. So you wasn't
I
really
was,
looking for nobody.
it wasn't no emergency, you know what I mean?
It was an
So,
emergency.
yeah, it wasn't no emergency, but I took it as a job, so to speak. And the first place I stayed at was Santo Domingo, and then I moved for about a month or two to Santiago,
Mm-hmm.
and then I moved to where I knew where she was. And luckily for me, I was just following my instinct. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And people started saying, "Well, you know where Margarita is? You know what I mean?" That's her name. And then I was just asking a lot, and she was selling a lot of things on the street. She was walking around, in
Yeah.
the general area. And like something told me to move here. That would be where she would basically be, not in the same area, but in the same
Right.
vicinity. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was like 2 miles away from where I
Wow.
or
Yeah.
something. And then I ended up finding her, and that was it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So yeah. So I really depend on instinct. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Following my gut. You know what I mean? And that's how I got here. And that was
Mhm.
some 21 years ago.
Wow.
So yeah, she died too, not so long ago, from cancer or some shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, But yeah, so remember how you treat your child when they are young will be how they treat you
Yep.
when they are adults, and that is so true. And
Yes.
then now we're on page 95, where you talk about prison mother, and this is the one that really got to me.
Woo. That's the biggest
That
one
that
right
was
there.
that was very moving. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it starts on page 95. But the answer I received was no. You can't teach an old dog a new trick, but she is all I have, she replied. She didn't know she had set her children up to experience the same generational curses that she has. And then I wrote boom on the next page 96. I really feel that prison mothers do love their children, and I'm pretty sure they do. Or should I say they want to, but just don't know how.
Right.
That was it.
Right.
And then you go down to 97, page 97. You have got to love yourself before you can love someone, and that's true.
Yes.
You spoke so many truths, So I had to highlight that. You have got to love yourself before you can love someone else. So don't continue the same cycle.
Right.
Then we go down to page 99. We need to do something different to get different results. And now you mentioned that earlier in the book too.
Hmm.
We need to do something different
Yeah.
to get different results. And then on page 101, it goes on to say, let me back that up on page 100 at the bottom. How do they know what to do if they haven't been on the streets to know what to do? It grieved my heart to see that we have 18, 19, and 20-year-olds in prison that were looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yep.
They knew what that man wanted them to do was wrong, but were afraid of losing the only love they'd ever known. So, can you expound on that if you want?
Yes, because when I worked in the jail, there was a lot of women that was behind bars that didn't have their
Oh, you
mother.
worked at the guard, right?
I
At the
was
guard?
I was a guard. Yeah, I worked
Okay,
as a
okay,
guard. Yeah,
okay.
and this was God, this was 20 years ago, and I worked. It was longer than that, like 96, somewhere from there. I
Mm-hmm,
worked as a prison guard. I did that for 5 years, and it hurt my heart. The system, I couldn't,
mm-hmm,
I couldn't do it. It was too many of us, and it was in there for no reason, nonviolent crimes, and you got all this time, and it was just a wild kingdom up in there. And I
mm-hmm,
remember seeing this one woman, and she came in my office, and she said, "You know, Miss Cheek," she said, um, "my daughter and my son is coming to see me. They're coming today." And I said, "Oh,
mm-hmm,
they coming to see you today?" She said, "No, they're going to be inmates." I looked at her. I said, "Well, shit, you done brought the whole family up in here." I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Who did you leave them to raise? Who?" I said, "You're in here. Who's raising your children?" She said, "My mother." I said, "You mean the same mother that raised you?
mm-hmm.
You left your seed to that same woman?" That made no sense to me. I couldn't make sense of that. And that hurt me so bad. I said, because she didn't learn anything. My thing is we have to parent on purpose. And when I say that, if she know that what she went through without her mom and where she ended up, or where the effects of her not having her mom and her mom not doing what she needed to do, that was effect on her. Why didn't she do something different for her children? That was my question to her.
Mm-hmm.
That was not to judge her, but I just
Yeah.
needed to know that because that was a choice.
Choice,
And we
choice,
don't
choice.
understand these are choices that we're making. The kind of
Mm-hmm,
parents that we are, men, if your dad wasn't there, then you should do it different for your son and be there for him. And that's not what we're doing. I'm seeing the same generational curse being passed down generation after generation after generation. Excuse me. Um, And when you say we need to do something different, I was talking to a young lady today, and she was talking about her husband, and she was Pakistan, and he was black, and she was telling me about what he wasn't doing, and I said, "Well, what you are allowing is what he's going to do." I also said, "How was your dad?" I wanted to find out the family dynamics, and she said, "My dad acted just like he does." I said, "So what you did was attracted the same spirit as your dad. Even though you
mm-hmm,
don't want to, you'll attract them anyway because that's what you
mm-hmm.
see, that's what you know. You don't know anything." I asked her, I said, "How do you expect him, a man who didn't have a father,
Yeah.
wasn't taught how to be a man, wasn't
Mm-hmm.
taught how to be a protector or a provider, how do you
Provider.
expect him to do these things?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, "But
Right.
what was you expecting from him? Because you saw the traits of your dad, but you
Yeah.
still chose to marry him and date him." I
Mm-hmm.
said,
Right.
"That right there, you got to do the work in you. If you want to attract something different, you are going to have to do the
To
work in
do
you
some.
to fix
Right.
and heal those broken
Mm-hmm.
places in order to attract something different." I
Right.
said, "You got
Right.
some choices to make.
Right.
It's going
Right.
to be either you can stay with him for the next 30 years, like your mom has been with your dad for 30
Right.
years,
Right.
and
30 years.
still her dad is treating the mom the same way." I said, "And you saw
Mm-hmm.
that." I said, "So now you have a son. What are you teaching him? And if you stick with this man, you have a daughter. What are you teaching her?" So you're going
Right.
to complete the
The
same
cycle.
cycle
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Choice is
Mm-hmm.
yours. You could
Yeah.
either, yes, you're going to hurt, but you deserve better. What are you going to do to get better? And I teach all my young girls, and this is one of my young girls between, she's 20 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's given me that gift between age 20, 18, and 24 to be able to minister to young women. because of what
Right.
I went through. You understand?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
believe what we go through is not just for us; it's for other people. You know.
Mhm.
So I asked her. I said, "Now you have a choice to make. You could either be miserable for the next 2 years, or 20 or 30 years. It's your
Mhm.
choice.
Right.
It's your choice." I
Yeah.
left it in the air. It's not my choice. I can't make the decision for you. You have to make that for yourself.
And that's one of the things that brought up in my mind
Hmm.
the word uh, that came out of my mother's mouth right before she died.
Wow.
She died 2 seconds later. I'm like, what the fuck?
Which
You know,
yeah.
man, like, what the hell? And I didn't even know it.
Wow.
Like, she looked at me and I said, Mom, Mom. But before she died, she said, Isaiah, remember what I taught you, son. Stay focused, stay out of trouble, and make good choices. And you just said that choices. It's all
Choice.
about choices. And if you don't have the wisdom, the
Yep.
capacity to understand the situation,
Right.
to avoid problems,
Yep.
wisdom, knowledge, and understanding will light the road in front of you so you can see.
Right.
You just don't go blindly into a given situation.
Right.
That's what they call common sense.
Right.
Common sense ain't common.
That's right. It's not for a lot of people. No.
No, and
And
that's the
people
point.
people don't
Yeah,
get it. They don't get
no,
it.
they probably don't want it because it'd be too
It's work.
costly for
It's
them.
work. It's work.
It'd be too costly for them. Like
Right.
I don't want to give up that man. I'd rather have a half a man
Right.
than no man.
And
You know
that's
what I
what they
mean?
get, a half a
And
man.
that's what
You
they
get
get.
what you get what's coming out of your mouth, or what you've put out into the universe to have. You'll
Yeah,
get a half a
yeah.
man. I
You
don't
get a half.
want. I'd rather have nothing if I got to have
Yeah,
a half. I don't want
a half.
anything. You keep
Right,
that to yourself.
and
Seriously,
there you go.
I'm not
And
doing it.
and to share with you my conversation because I'm a Jew, but I'm not a real strict kind of. You know what I mean? Oh, you got to do this. You got to no live your life. No, look. Let me take that back. I spoke with my wife before we got married. I said, "Well, I'm a Jew, right?" She said, "Yeah." And I'm a Christian, and I don't have a problem with that because it all comes boiling down to what? Being a good person.
Hmm.
And if she's good with me and I'm good with her, if she's not talking to me like I'm her son, I'm talking to her like she's my daughter. We both have we both. I just saw a gecko just ran across the wall. uh, but yeah, we both have respect, and that's a virtue. And I told her I don't have a problem with you going to church and you praying to your God. That's your God. The one I pray to is the one that is internally inside of me, the God of Isaiah. Just like the Bible says, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. Well, I have the God of me because I can understand that God within me. And I told her, above all else, just be happy. Happiness means doing the thing or things in your life that give you meaning, purpose, sense of direction, and fulfillment.
Yeah.
That's happiness to me. I mean, not everybody want to be a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, but having enough money to do what you want to do when you want to do it, how you want to do it, and not having to answer to somebody else's bell. Oh
Right.
shit! It's 8 o'clock. I got to get up at 6:30. I got I got to punch that clock. I know what that is like when working at the post office. I worked at the post office for 15 years, so I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hated
I
it.
ain't I never had no job,
Yeah.
so I know what that's like. But
Yeah.
I worked my ass off to get off
Yeah.
that plantation.
Yeah. I did.
You
And
know what I
that's what
mean?
I'm doing now. That's what I'm doing now because I
Yeah.
want to retire
Yes,
next year,
yes,
and
yes.
I
You
know what
know
it's
how
going to
that
take.
is. You work toward everything you wanted,
Right.
and you got what you wanted. So
Yeah.
that's the
That's
thing,
right.
and you
And it's
will make
coming.
it,
It's coming.
and it's
Oh
coming.
yeah. It's
That's the
coming.
point.
Trust that. It's coming.
Yeah,
Trust. I don't know where
yeah.
I'm going yet, but it's coming.
It'll get there.
I want to
Uh,
travel. That's my thing. Just traveling.
yeah, and there's only three ways to make money: stock
Right.
market, business of your own, and real estate.
That's my thing. Real estate. That's my baby. That's my baby.
Okay,
That's my baby.
And that's the thing. That's where
I
you're
tried
gonna
the
make
stock
your way up
market.
for me.
That I tried the stock market. Isaiah, that's not my gift.
No, but
That's
yeah,
your
I
gift.
understand what you're saying because
That's not my
like I was telling a lot of people, I met John Rogers when he didn't have a dime. He was just graduating out of Princeton. I was just coming out of high school, almost
yeah,
out of high school, like a
yeah,
year.
yeah,
And you know what? Is what we were saying. I prayed that someone would come into my life that will show me a way to get to where I wanted to be
yeah,
at a very, at a
yeah,
very, at a
yeah,
very early. Get out of here! That was a fly. At a very early age, and here he comes.
yeah, yeah,
And I learned the stock market because I took $500. I gave it to him. I didn't give it to him. He worked at some brokerage company. I forget.
yeah,
And I went down to the brokerage office, opened up the account, and put my $500 in there.
yeah,
The very first stock I bought was Cubic Corporation. It went from $18, and I trusted him. He was the brother. I trusted
yeah,
him,
yeah.
and it went from $18 to damn near 50. So I doubled eight, six, eight, 18. Well, like
Wow.
$1,300 out
Yeah.
of the 1,500. You know
I
what I
love
mean?
it.
Minus, you
And
know
see,
what I
I
mean?
don't know how to do stuff like that. I hear about great stocks and stuff, but every time I go to check on it, I don't know how they
Yeah.
want me to put it in. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Ah,
So I just don't even do it. I seriously, I tried
yeah.
because I got into a trade and travel class, but it just
Mhm.
didn't. I know the basics, but when you
Yeah.
go to options and all that, the bear,
Yeah.
that's not.
Ooh,
I
let me
don't.
tell you about options.
I don't
I hate
understand
the
that.
shit out of options.
I
See,
t-
what the stock, the common
that's your
stock
money
market.
though. That's your money when you do options.
Yes,
That's your
but the
money.
people love options. People
Yeah.
love commodity trading.
Oh, I can't
You
do it.
know,
I
stuff
can't.
like that. But
I get too
that
nervous.
wasn't.
I
Yeah,
can't. I can't. I
that was
get too
not. That's
nervous.
too nerve
I
wracking for me. That was
I
too
can
nerve
go
wracking.
and get me a building and do a Airbnb out of it or
Yeah, and you
rent a
can feel
room.
the building. You can feel the brick. You can feel the faucet.
Yes, I can do that, but I can't. I cannot do that stock market. I
Right,
tried.
right,
I
right.
just
No,
could
no,
not.
I feel you. I feel you.
That's your gift,
But
honey. Real estate is my
yeah,
baby. That's
yeah,
my
yeah,
baby.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I like real estate too. That's the reason why we bought. That's one of the reasons why we came. I
They
came
have
here.
apartments down there in Dominic. They have them right at the water, don't they? My girlfriend was
Yeah,
telling me
but
about some apartments.
listen, Cassie. Look at your arm. Pull out your arm. Extend your arm.
Yeah.
All right, and put your index finger under your arm. Right, and go run it all the way down to the fingertip. That's how long the salmon is.
What?
You
What?
know how much? You know how? Yes. Do you know how much it costs?
What?
$20.
Oh God.
Uh, 2 bags of shrimp. And I don't mean no little itty bitty shrimp. They're like this. Cost $30.
Wow.
Now you
Wow.
got to go to the shit. You got to go to the fish house in order to
Hmm.
get all of that.
Yeah.
Not to the normal stores like you would go like to,
Well,
I
yeah.
don't know. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Walgreens. I don't know if you're Walgreens.
Yeah.
I know you heard of Walgreens, right?
Of
Oh,
course. Yeah. We have
yeah,
that.
okay.
Yeah, we have that here. Yeah,
Yeah,
we have that here. Yeah. We have
yeah.
Walgreens here. Yeah, we
Okay.
have that here.
Or Sam Club or something like that.
Yeah.
It's
We have
gonna
that.
cost you a whole hell of a lot of money to get that kind of a salmon. It's gonna cost you
Yeah.
about $2,000.
Woo, it's
It's
gonna
gonna
be
cost
up
you a
there.
lot
I don't
more
know
than
about
$20.
2,000, but it's gonna be up there.
Yeah,
It's gonna be up
yeah,
there.
it's gonna be up there. You know what I mean? But that's not all. For $1.99 more, you can buy a 5,000 square foot plot of land for about $30,000.
Okay, but I'm looking for apartments. I don't want to
Yeah,
build nothing.
hold
I
on.
want to
For
be able to have
$1.99
apartments.
more,
Okay. I'm like, my
for a
thing is
dollar
apartments.
ninety nine more. It depends on where you build it and where you buy it at.
I don't want to
Now,
build it anywhere. I want to
you just want
just
to buy
buy
it?
it.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
want to
Well,
build
you
it.
got now here it
That's too
is.
much. That's too much
Here's this.
complication.
Yeah, here's this.
Uh-huh.
A 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom condo
Uh-huh.
in a nice area that is in a closed community
Yeah,
costs you $60,000.
that's what I'm talking about. I can do the one bedroom and or a studio and rent it out Airbnb it.
Yeah, that's what my sister is
That's what
doing.
I want to do. Yeah,
That's what
that's
my
what I'm
sister
looking
is
for.
doing.
That's what I'm looking for. I am looking for an Airbnb. that I can actually lease out.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't even have to buy it at first. I can lease it
yeah,
out,
right.
and then with the option to buy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
With the
We
option
have
to
all
buy.
of that here. Sister
That's what
Cassie,
I'm
I'm
looking
telling
for.
you,
That's what I want. I'm looking for that
look,
studio or one bedroom to do it.
a 5,000 square foot lot of plot of land,
Yeah.
you can build a 5,000. Well, let me take that back. Let me rephrase that. A 5,000 square foot of land, you don't have to use the whole land. So you got 2,000 square feet left over, or you can use, yeah, you can use 3,000 square foot to build your foundation. You can go one down and three up.
Hmm.
So that depends. That's 369. That's 12,000 square feet of living space that you can
Yeah.
build on that 5,000 square foot of land. You
Nah.
got one floor down
Hmm.
and three floors up because you can't build no more than three floors. Not, it depends on where you are. You know what I
And
mean?
you building apartment buildings? Is that
No,
apartment
that's your
building?
home. That would be your home.
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's that's the process of what we're doing right now.
Oh, okay. I don't want to be.
Yeah.
It's only
Well,
me
it
and my
really
husband.
depends on how you want to. You just want one level home.
Yeah, I'm
Look
looking.
at it
I
around you
told you what I
eighty
want.
thousand
I'm
dollars.
looking.
No
I
more.
ain't building nothing. I told you I ain't building nothing. I want it
Yeah,
already built
yeah.
because I don't need. I don't
Look,
know builders. I don't know anybody. Because so for me, I'm not gonna go to a foreign country and build anything because I don't know
yeah,
any builders, and you get
yeah.
taken like
Well,
that.
you know me, because I'm not gonna lead you
Well,
right
yeah,
down the
I
road.
can do
road,
that if
road
I
right.
knew, somewhere,
Yeah,
knew you and some. But
right.
if you're there and you say, "Hey, Cassie, there is a condo or one bedroom or studio apartment. I want you to take a peek at it." I'll come down there and look at it and lease it,
Right.
or I'll buy
Yeah,
it. I mean, I would love to buy something. And like I said,
right.
I'll rent it out for an Airbnb because that's my
Mhm.
investments and that's how I'm gonna retire.
That's where you get your money. And people are loving the Dominican Republic. They're
Yes, they are.
making, look, per,
Yeah.
okay, let's say you get a two-bedroom, one bathroom, condo or something. You can pull in at least $5,000 a month.
Oh, I know it. I know it.
And that's $1,000 per person per week. Now,
Yes.
if you're pulling in, uh,
Yes.
and they got people who manage the Airbnb for you. You know
Yes,
what I
and
mean?
I will
So
pay
you got
them.
to make sure
I
they're
can
doing their
manage.
job.
I just need cleaners. I just need the
Yeah,
cleaner. I can manage my own stuff.
yeah,
I don't need anybody because nobody
yeah,
can do the job like me.
yeah. There you go. And that's
You
what
understand
my
what I'm saying?
sister.
Now
That's what
I
my
would
sister.
need a cleaner to clean it. So to make
Yeah,
sure, and not just one, because I want to have
right.
several. So if that one is
Yeah,
busy or she's not doing what
yeah,
she's supposed to do, then I can just call the other one. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
that's my thing. I pretty much, and just like I do here, I have one in Myrtle Beach, and I pretty much have a cleaner that go in, and I have a girl that has a cleaning company, and I use her people, and
Right.
she's responsible for them. So I pay her, and she makes sure everything is clean for me.
And they got cleaning companies here too.
Right?
Now
Oh,
get this. Now get this.
really?
It's
Huh.
not that expensive.
I figured
To
that.
clean the
Yeah.
apartment, to clean the apartment will run you about, with two people, run you about $100
A month? I mean, per cleaning?
per cleaning. Yeah,
Okay.
that's not bad. You
That's
know what I
not
mean?
bad, but I do less than that here. And we're in the States.
Really,
Yes,
a hundred
really.
dollars? Okay,
Yeah. I do 80, I do pretty much 70, $85. Oh no, $80 um every 2 weeks,
oh, okay,
to go in there and
okay,
clean. But I rent the rooms out for now,
right,
right
right,
now.
right,
But
right.
I'm looking to go overseas. I'm getting ready to go to Panama in June, and I'm going to look for an apartment there, and I'm going to
Mm,
lease one there for now, and then I'm going to go
okay,
back in December and do.
okay,
But I got some other things that I got in the works to be able to
right,
retire
right.
like I want
And
to.
you know what? You know what too, Sister Cassie? They got foreclosed home and back tax home too. That is cheap than a motherfucker.
Where there?
Yeah,
Seriously? Well,
bank home.
well, how come
There's
you
a lot
not
of.
helping? How come you not helping your sister out?
It's not. Real estate is not my thing.
Oh shoot, are you crazy? Oh my
But
God.
I got all of the information just in case somebody just want to
Man,
ask.
I'm
Yeah,
here. I'll
yeah,
keep telling
I
you
got
because
you. I got
I
you.
know my girlfriend was talking about coming down there, but she was telling me, "Hey, you can get this." It was like so much money, and I'm like, "That's too much money for the Dominic." They
Yeah,
was
yeah.
asked, but I find out when you're dealing with American people in the Dominic,
Mm,
they're going to be super
mm,
expensive because they think you come in there and they trying to cheat, all this crazy stuff. And
yeah,
I said, no, that's
yeah,
too much for the Dominic. I would need to make a profit. But if you
Never
can't make
profit.
a
Yeah.
profit, if you're going overly and you spending
Yeah.
$150 for something,
Right.
150,000, I'm not gonna do that. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's not a
Yeah.
profit
Yeah.
to me. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
no.
Right.
So when you're dealing with American people in the Dominic, they try to be overly expensive and they trying to get you,
Yeah.
and
You gotta be
it doesn't
careful
make
about
sense. It's got to
it.
make
Yeah, they
sense.
want that American money.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. But no, you're not
Yeah.
going to get it like that because I need to make
Yeah.
sure that I'm gonna rent it out and I'm gonna make a profit. And I can't
Right.
make a profit on
Yeah.
$150,000 anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
But
know,
like I say, at the minimum, with an Airbnb, you're making a 4 or 5 grand a month.
a month, right? But
Yeah.
guess what? If it's 150,000, that's gonna be like what? Maybe $1,000, 12, 1,500 right there, maybe a month.
I'm sorry, what?
For if you spend $150,000, I don't want to spend that in Dominic. I don't want to spend
You
that on
mean when
property.
you buy it?
Mm-hmm.
When you buy it? No, it's gonna run you about $80,000.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So do you
Yeah.
guys do banking down there or is it cash?
No, they look. The place that we're building now, right? It's gonna run us about 120,000. You pay half down, and then the half when it's finished. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
So I can make
But
payments as they're building it.
yeah, but if you're gonna buy a place,
Hmm.
they can finance it for you
Oh,
here,
really?
or you can get it financed there in America if you want. Uh,
Is it
it
better to get
depends
it
on.
financed there?
Yeah, it can be financed here too. You know what I mean? But you
Which way
don't
is
want that
better?
because they charge ridiculous amount of
Okay,
interest.
that's what I was gonna
Yeah,
say. That's what
yeah,
I was gonna say.
yeah.
Yeah.
They get over on that. I'm just gonna be
Okay.
honest with you.
Okay. So
But
it's best to
yeah,
just save up the money and put cash down on it.
yeah. It's
Okay.
better because where you when you start doing your Airbnb or whatever, it's straight cash to you. You don't
Right.
have to worry about paying no
Right.
mortgage and nothing like that. And
Right.
especially when you buy um, a home that's been what do you call it? Uh,
Pre-built, prefab.
Yeah,
Yeah,
foreclosed
foreclosed. Oh,
property
okay.
or
Okay.
tax
Okay.
properties. Yeah,
Okay.
so there's plenty of those, and they nice homes.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yes,
I
they're
may
nice
have to
homes.
come down to the Dominican.
Yeah, just cleaning it up and getting it cleaned up and all of that. It
If
ain't
if
nothing.
what is it in a gated community where it won't be broken
Yeah,
into?
it, what? Yes, the majority of them are. Some of them not. Uh, but when I first moved, I was just living in the hood. Like I nobody. But then I spoke the language. I understood the culture and all of that.
Exactly. I don't speak the language. You gotta speak that language. You're gonna live in the hood. I ain't living
There
in
ain't
the
gonna
hood.
be no
I
problem.
ain't living
Yeah,
in the
you know how.
hood. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not
No, no,
living out.
no,
I don't live in the hood
hear me out.
here. I ain't coming down there living in
No,
the hood.
there ain't no ghetto hood.
Okay,
Now
because you know.
they got some ghetto hoods now.
Oh no, I ain't living like that.
I've been through them,
Oh no, I'm
but I
not doing
ain't
that.
stopping.
I'm okay, and I'm not stopping either because you know I'm from America, and they be, oh, she from America. Oh, look, dude.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
okay, but anyway,
Yeah,
yeah, we're
I,
gonna talk
I've
more
been
about
here
those
20 years.
properties.
And the worst thing that ever happened to me was getting bit by mosquitoes. That was it.
Oh wow! But see, we're gonna talk more about those properties because I would love to come down there just to see. Because what
Mhm.
I'm looking for is a 1 bedroom or a studio that they're
Yeah,
either building in a new area or
right.
and they're not super expensive that I could still make a profit and still buy them and still make a profit. That's what I'm actually looking for.
Hold on. Let me put it in here. Just lifestyle resort. That one of the most popular ones. That again, it's only like from where we live, it's only like a 15-minute drive to
Really,
get
and
to
it's in a nice area. Can you go and look and can
the
you help
lifestyle.
me out?
That motherfucker.
Well, how much are we talking renting?
No,
Can
no,
I
no,
rent
no.
it?
I'm talking about that's the resort. If you want to come and stay for a while, I would
Oh,
recommend staying in that hotel. It comes
oh.
with food every day, and you get. I mean, it is boss.
Okay,
It's called
where's that? Where's that
Lifestyle
at?
Resort
Okay,
in Fresh Sea.
spell that.
Fresh Sea. Fresh Sea. You
Oh,
can Google it. Google Lifestyle Resort Fresh Sea. That's the community in which it is. Now
oh,
they built homes and condominiums that are
really?
just dying. People are dying to get them, and they
But
all
are they
uh,
reasonable? Are they
yeah,
reasonable?
yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
the along the Malecon where it's like the avenue, they call it El Malecon. Uh, they got brand new a condominium that's going up. It's like, damn, they building the shit out of
How much
where
are
we at.
they?
Huh?
How
Oh,
much
I
are
don't know
they?
how much. I'm gonna drive past that
Well, they got
and
Cofer C in Puerto
we
Rico
go for
too.
a see. That's where Lifestyle Resort Hotel is at. And
Oh
I
wow.
mean, that is the top notch hotel where we at.
Oh
They
wow.
got other nice hotels, you know what I mean, that I like
Really?
too, but they go out of their way to make sure you're comfortable. And they
Really?
come and get you in a limousine from the airport and all of
Oh,
that. Yeah,
ooh, are you
yeah,
serious? Ooh, I'm looking at it right now. Oh my goodness. Ooh,
yeah, yeah,
wow. Look at
yeah,
that. I'm looking at it right now.
yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
Oh my
right.
goodness. Okay, okay,
And I'm
okay.
trying to remember the name of the hotel where we went for our honeymoon. That's a nice hotel too.
Oh
But
wow.
I can't remember the name of it, but I'm gonna get it and then
Oh
send it to you.
wow. So these, okay, so the apartments are how much?
It depends on how many bedroom, bathroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So minimally, I would say about 120, but you're getting like 1,500 square feet.
You said
Shit, that
120?
yeah, for 1,500 square feet.
I wonder if my business I want my business to purchase it for me. I don't want to I want my business credits to purchase it for me.
Oh, yeah, you can do
That's
that.
what I want to use. I want
Yeah,
to use my business
yeah.
to do that, to purchase it.
Money talk, bullshit walk.
I yeah, and I need to find out how to do that. I don't know how to do that part of it,
Yeah,
to get. So yeah,
yeah.
I
Well,
got some people I
well,
want
once you buy it, you can always put it in your business name or right from the jump.
to do
Uh,
it from the jump. I want to allow my business to purchase it for me.
yeah,
That way they don't
um,
use any of my personal anything. It's all on my
yeah,
business.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
let's
mean,
finish.
no
We can
problem.
finish that. We can finish that. We're gonna talk more about
Okay,
that, but
okay.
let's
Yeah,
finish
yeah,
the book
okay.
up and then that way because I'm gonna
Well,
have
we
to
ain't
go.
got long to go. On 102, it says, you must start by understanding who you are, that you are the true Hebrew Israelite, and learning your real history will change. That is so damn true. Will
Mhm.
change your life in itself.
Yeah,
Prayer and you spending time with Yeshua, a lot of quiet time with Yeshua, and Him showing you your weaknesses. And this is why I wrote powerful on page 104. To get over that person and stop craving for that abuse, you have to break all ungodly soul ties.
that's right.
Call every part of you that person has of you back to you. And then on page 105, we won't try to change anyone because we will understand we can't change others, but we can't even change ourselves.
Yep.
We will not settle for anything less than Yeshua's best. It's
Mhm.
not up to anyone to make you happy. They can only add to your happiness. That's what I say. In
Yeah.
fact, because we're not whole, we attract what we are. You can tweak you. And I put a check mark to this one. It's nobody's job but yours to fix. Your feelings should always matter, and love doesn't hurt. Cheating is never acceptable. And then I put a check mark next to this as well. Let me go back a little bit. We have gotten to the point that because we've accepted the negative behavior for so long, that when a nice man or woman comes along and treats us like queens and kings, we aren't attracted or we feel something is wrong with that person because we're so used to being treated less than. And then on page 109, I put a check mark. Let me blacken this one up. I put a check mark next to that. It says a child's life is supposed to be safe, happy, and be around people who love him and her, won't be so selfish and work things out. A happy child is a healthy and prosperous adult who has healthy relationships to pass on to his children or her children. It only takes a little effort and a whole lot of love to be a successful parent. Ain't that something? Ain't that the truth? Parent to your child. Love can and does last forever. It just takes you working on both parts. Marriage isn't for punks. You kept me on that one. Marriage isn't for fun, and it can last forever. Uh, then I'll let you go on to that, and then we'll wrap it up. You can expound on what I just wrote, or what I just said.
I think it was
Huh?
self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I think it explained it all. You
Yeah.
have to, if you are going to um, be in a relationship with someone, um, be willing to work at it.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage, for instance, I think um, you are you're attracted to the person that is a lot of times that's going to help you to grow. Okay, so yes, it's going to be stuff in the marriage. It's going to be stuff in you that a lot of times you thought was gone, but that person is going to stir the pot a little bit, and that's what that person is there for. And of course you're going to stir his pot a little bit, or her part, if if you're a man. But I do believe that we meet our mates, that God has, especially if that is something and you've been working on yourself, and that's something that's your request, that's your heart's desire, because he's going to give you your heart's desire. But I do believe that he'll bring you a person, and sometimes you're not ready for that person, because
Right.
that person
Right.
could be where you need to be, just like you're where
Mm-hmm.
they need to be. So it's going to be
Right.
things in you that need to be worked on. It's going to be things in him that he's going to work on. But you have to be honest and be willing to work at it, because marriage, like I
Right.
said, it's not for punks. This thing right here, and this for grown folk. If you
Right.
acting still not growing up, or if you've not grown up, or if you still get mad at little small things, or if you really not knowing how to pick and choose your battles, and I believe that big time, pick and choose your battles when you're married. Sometimes you just be, leave well enough alone, don't even say anything. But I believe it's just all about what you want. You go after what you want. If if you wanna, you work at it. You work at it. If you don't, you don't. But you're not going to get his best. And sometimes you do get his best, but you're not ready for his best. So you lose the
Mm-hmm.
best, and you never get it back again. Never, never. So it's up to us. Whatever you want. The book. I think the book speaks for itself. I think um, you have to want change, speaking change, being the change that you want to see, and walking it out. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
This thing
Yeah.
called
Yeah.
life, parenting, is not easy. You
That's
have to
it.
be willing to
Yeah.
do the work, and you have
Mm-hmm.
to be, because you have people under you that you're in charge of, and you ought to want to be able to be the best you, for
Yeah.
that, for your kids to be normal, for them to be prosperous adults. And that's what I went out to do, was to
Mm-hmm.
parent on purpose, and to pull out their best, and to walk them into their divine destiny, so that they can get all out of life that they're supposed to have. I taught them how to dream. I taught them how to travel, and my
Try.
kids are amazing, and they
Mm-hmm.
travel all the time, and they love life. One is married, one is not. She's, I think my baby's like 31, and my oldest is 33. And they're both just living their best life, happy,
Right.
and that's what it's
Right.
about.
Happy. Happy.
Happy,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what it's about.
Okay, Miss Cassie, we are going to wrap it up. I'm gonna focus in because there were just a couple of more things. You talk about anger management and
Yes,
recidivism,
yes,
dropping the ball.
yeah,
Uh, they end up being in a systematical racist society, and
hmm,
you talk about how white kids get the better judgment in this racist system in which we live, and a better, not a better, but a more lenient hand, more so than black kids. Um, and then let's see, and then you talk about every culture have their own but us. And then you go on to write about why do our children need to study homosexuality in the classroom, and that's on purpose. They do that
oh
shit.
God, yes.
Yeah,
Oh heck yes. You know
and
what,
then
I found out a lot of white kids are being taught in church and other schools. They're not even going to our schools where our
no,
children are being taught homosexuality. I
no,
found that out because I went up to a school, and my husband he's retired, right? But he was just trying to find something. And he went and had the nerves to go up to the school one day, and he's like, oh, that's too much work. But he said, I walked in the school and I looked around, and I saw nothing but black kids. And I'm like, well, we're in a mixed area. So I said, where are the white kids going? He said, they got to have their own school. They have to have their own schools. And I guarantee you what they're teaching our children in our schools is not what they teach them white kids.
Yeah. And you wrap that up on
Yeah.
page 128 with Proverbs 14:12. There is a way that seemed right unto
Mm-hmm.
a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. I thought about that,
Mm-hmm.
and I really think that a lot of people are just not, they know, but they don't know. They know of the seven deadly sins, but they're not conscious of it, and therefore are participating in it.
Yeah.
And therefore they're wondering, why is my life not going in
Yeah.
the way in which I
Yeah.
wanted to go?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
And
you
one of
haven't
my
participated.
stuff with this person that I have no business being with. And just like
Yeah,
the lady I was talking about today, she had no idea. She didn't understand why she was with the man that she was with. I said, because of your dad. That's what you're attracted because that's what you saw. And she didn't do the work. I said, we have to do the work.
you did.
And that's what I'm going
Yeah,
to stand on. We have to
yeah,
do the work. And you see something that's, say, for instance, you're attracting, ladies, I'm talking to you, just for instance, you're attracting the wrong type of man. And every time he's cheating and he's, beating you or he's yelling or he's cussing you or doing something, that's not a him problem. That's a you problem. And when I, what the reason I say that's a you problem is because it's something in you that needs to be tweaked. If you're attracting that type of man to you, soon as you attract or soon as you tweak you, do the work on you, you'll begin to attract different type of men.
yeah. You said a lot. We're at the end now.
Yeah.
This was the last boom
Oh Lord.
that I put on page 139. It says, we allow the devil to come in, the seven deadly sins, as far as I'm concerned. And our husbands felt that we didn't need them, nor did we want them. So they left us and went to white women. Now that's some cold shit.
Hey, is it
Hold on,
true?
hold on, hold on, hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, yes, it is. I understand. Now we have children who are in trouble. They are violent, mad, and mean. And then you wrap it up on page 141. We have to choose too, on purpose. Change our mind, thought, speech about your sister and brother. We need to take classes to help us to heal from the past of slavery. Yes, we went through trauma that was passed down from generation to generation, and we just keep passing down hurtful traditions. And there need to be a change of a mindset. And then you wrap it all up, and this is what I really love. They do as they see us do, not as we tell them to do. That's powerful. And then you say, some of us are under curses and we don't even know it. And then, hold on, let me see, I want to make sure that I'm not cheating.
Ah,
And then it says, the enemy knows it.
yeah.
So he has authority over that area until the door is closed. And then the last chapter, hold on, let me see, the last, yeah, the last chapter. It said what we must do. We have been looking, we have been looking uh, at other culture to help us to solve our cultural problems. Do we really think that other cultures who happen to be our enemy, and I do believe white folks, we want to see us not to
Yeah.
be destroyed?
Yeah.
Right. One day a week, that could have been a time to use the day to help our culture to heal. And to wrap it up, you wrapped it up with MLK. And this was a little bit before that. We now allow our school to teach our children about garbage. We took Yeshua out, and the devil stepped in, and that's true. Before MLK went into that meeting with the government, we had our own businesses, homes, land, banks, etc.
That's
And when
right
he
there.
came out of the meeting,
Right there.
we lost everything.
Right
Isn't
there.
that what? Didn't I say that on the show? And then Doc was talking about, no, he ain't no nigga. He was a coon motherfucker.
Oh yeah, he was a cone. He was a cone.
He knew it. He knew it. But I don't have a mind. I don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean? But that's my
I
brother. I'm
do.
gonna let him
I have a
talk.
problem with it because he
Yeah,
didn't do what he was supposed to do. Hell yeah, I have a problem with it Because look at where
Okay.
we at today because we
Yeah.
listened to a coon who was paid by the government. Oh yeah, I have a
Yeah.
problem with that.
Yeah.
Because he
There
told
you
you
go.
he said,
Yeah.
oh, when he saw it, and then he tried to back out and they killed his behind. Because I get
Yeah.
to guarantee you, if his dream was a God given dream, we wouldn't be at the bottom.
Yeah. And
So
in the
that's how
end,
you can
Martin
know
Luther
if it's a
King.
blessing or not. Because a blessing make you rich and add no
Yes.
sorrow to it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But when
Yes,
you walking
ma'am.
under a curse, you gonna know it because you're gonna have a lot of sorrow. A lot of sorrow.
Right. And
And
on
we was
page
dumb enough to
150,
believe him.
yeah. And on 150, the last part, it says, and this is the beautiful part. We don't need a country. We need people that think like us and want something new. We need to turn back to God, and you will, that's the word will, not can, you will find that will be the best for you, your children, and your family. Now that's the part that really put the nail in the coffin for me. The will of a people will get to where that people want to be, individually and collectively. And if you remember that fish that was coming out of the ground with all the black people, yes,
Yeah, yeah,
unity, unity,
yeah.
unity of the
Unity.
people, of the family,
Yeah,
of the neighborhood, of the community, of the state, and of the nation. That's how it
yeah,
goes. And all of us must be on one accord, the one frequency, the same frequency. And when we have that, we have everything. And you know what? I sent it to you. Watch the one that talk about Angola.
oh yeah.
And, oh, did you see it? Did you watch
I
the video?
seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. And isn't that what we talk about on the show? Your economics dictate the politics.
Yeah.
Money talk, bullshit walk. Now white folks in Portugal got to listen to what some niggas say.
Ain't
You know
that
what I
something?
mean? And who cares about them calling you out your name? As long as you can disrupt their economy and fight ass and put them in the poorhouse, that's all that matters. I
Yeah.
don't give a shit if somebody calling me a nigga.
Yeah. It doesn't
As
matter.
long as I can just say, oh, really? Now, thanks you, John.
Yeah.
Now you're fired, motherfucker.
That's the best part about it.
Now
To have
take
a
your ass
last say.
home. You
Yeah.
ain't getting no
No unemployment.
back pay, no none of that.
No
Take
unemployment. No
your
nothing.
rotten ass home
Yep.
and be happy.
Yep. And enjoy the
Because this
rest of
nigga
your life.
just this nigga just fired your ass.
Yeah. Yep. He fired
Well, we're
himself.
gonna wrap it up, and I want you to give your last word, and then I'm gonna say, well, let me say my thing.
Okay.
I really appreciate you coming on. It's been 3 hours and 36 minutes and 40 seconds.
Wow.
But we had fun. I had
Yes.
fun,
Yes.
and it wasn't. And you know how you just flow,
Yes. 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 It
and
does.
you,
Yeah.
you don't mind it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I really appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate you as a woman, as a father, as a wife, as a citizen of the world
Yeah.
and of your home state, North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yep.
Yeah,
North
okay.
Carolina. Yep.
And all of that, because I know that you are my twin. I ain't got to even think about that shit. I know that if I think of something, you're gonna finish that thought because we're on the same vibe. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on. I honor you with the total respect and admiration that you deserve. And your words really resonated with me in the book and confirmed what I've been taught all along and what I've been raised as. You know what I mean? It's just a reconfirmation and a confirmation and a reconfirmation.
Yeah.
And I really salute you on your book. And I really, uh, appreciate it. It resonates.
Yeah.
And I hope people who buy it can really appreciate what you're saying. And another thing about your book, it wasn't boring. You know what I mean? It really uh, caught my attention from the beginning to the end. And you can tell that because I really get into the nuts and bolts of what this book is about.
Yes.
I,
Yeah.
I, I, I yeah. If I didn't like that motherfucker, I tell you. That's like, damn it, you need to go back to the drawing board and start again. But cause when Doc wrote his book, I'm gonna buy his book. Hopefully he'll come on and this is just between you and I. I think he might just see this
Don't
video.
even say it.
But, I like the guy. You know what I mean? But
Sure,
he comes out as being dry.
it's okay.
You know what I mean? It's nothing critical. It's just dry. Just add a little barbecue sauce.
That's education.
Yeah, you're a little bit dry. You
That's
know what I
education.
mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And Brother Marie, I can't wait for him to get his book, so
Oh
I have his
yeah.
black ass on.
That's gonna be
You know,
something.
I'm gonna
Oh
if I see something wrong,
boy, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna be
But
on
I'm
that
glad you
ass.
enjoyed it. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And that's
Yeah,
and I think it served its purpose. And it was for to help our young men and women
yeah,
to do the right thing by their children. And just
hmm
it's time to grow and it's time to do it better. It's time to correct the wrongs that was done to us and not wait for them to do it. It's time for us
yeah,
to do it for us. And it's time
right,
for us to come together and heal so that we can love on us, that we can love on us and we can get our men back because we
yeah,
gave them
yeah,
away and they
yeah.
running wild now. They just out there, they all over the place now.
You see
And
all them black NFL new NFL, they got all white women.
all
Damn
white
near.
women. Uh, but God is not pleased. They're going to be punished for that. These
Yeah, that
a
that
lot
that's
of
right.
them are going through hell with them white women. They are
Yeah,
because they're
they're
not
gonna
supposed to be marrying them
get
for
that
one.
money.
Oh yeah,
That's
they're
all
going to
they
get
want.
all that money, and I
hmm
heard Dr. Umar say that our black men have been raped in the bed. They have been
Yeah,
robbed
yeah,
sexually for
yeah.
their stuff,
That's
things.
what yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what them white women are doing. They're getting them in bed
Mm-hmm,
and doing whatever, and that's how
hmm
they writing the
Yeah,
whole check over to them. And that's
yeah,
the sad part about it because
yeah,
those, like Tiger Woods, he got
mm,
a whole trailer park trash piece of nothing and made her a
yeah,
millionaire. That's the sad
mm,
part about it. Black women
yeah.
have suffered through these with these men forever, and they go
hmm
get NFL and they get them a white woman.
Right, right,
That's
right,
so
right.
that's the saddest thing I ever seen. But then
Yeah,
again, this is a parenting issue. Let's go there. Let's go
the
there.
pet parenting.
Because
Yeah,
a lot of mamas is not telling their sons, those are dangerous women. Do not
yeah,
bring them home.
yeah, yeah. You got that right.
And I
I
don't see the
feel you.
men doing it. I don't see the men are so mad at the black women that they're not teaching their sons how
How
dangerous
to.
the women are. And those women are destroying their sons' lives. They're
Oh,
destroying them financially.
they're good white folks.
I haven't seen none. I haven't seen one because did you hear me when I say all of the ones that I know
Yeah,
are snakes in the grass, and
yeah.
all of
Like
them are poisonous.
all of them are snakes in the grass. I don't
All
give a
of them. There is
how
not
how they
one,
appear. That's just the appearance.
honey. I don't care how they appear because when you step back long enough, you're gonna see the devil in them.
Yes,
Period. You
it's
step
gonna
back,
come out
it's
one
got
way
to.
or
It's
another.
got to. It's only way you don't see it is when you continue to allowing them to use you, just like Candace.
Yeah,
Candace Owen
yeah,
is getting her wake up call now.
yeah. Right, right. And they can
She's
only do what you allow them to do.
exactly, exactly.
hmm
But I
Yeah,
appreciate this time, and I appreciate you for just
yeah.
allowing us to allow me to be here. I also have a book, and that's on Amazon with the it's a workbook also,
Oh, okay.
a journal. I
Ah,
have a
okay.
journal too. Yeah, I
Right.
have both a
Okay.
workbook and the workbook,
That'll work.
and it's
I,
called yeah. Show
I'll
them the
definitely.
covers. Show up, pull up the cover of the book. Show up the cover, and then I have a workbook just like that. Yep, I have a workbook
Okay.
just like that.
Right.
Yep.
Well, we're gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. This is a compendium of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of our Sister Cassie, who has took the time and the emotional energy to not only correct the thing that she knew and felt that needed to be corrected in her life to make her life better
Yeah.
for herself first by correcting those errors and those generational curses
Yeah.
to become a holy being, WHOLLY, and therefore becoming a holier being, HOLIER. And the only way you become a holier being, you become a holier person.
Yes.
And that's a lifetime of work. It just don't
Yeah.
stop just
It's
because you
lifetime.
feel like you
Yes.
made it. When you start feeling
Continuous
like you
work.
made it, you ain't made it.
No, continuous work.
It's continual work. So
Yes.
I really appreciate you on that, and I know we're a little bit over time, but I felt like it don't feel like no 3 hours and 44 minutes.
Oh no, I
And
have to
folks say,
look up the clock. We've been on here all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
yes, I had fun. You know
It
what I
was
mean?
not, I love, you know what? I have been trying to get the book in different prisons because I think it's needed. And I'm
Yeah,
not, and I don't believe they're going to let it in there because it'll change people's lives.
yeah.
It'll change
Well,
people's lives, even in the schools. If
I'm
we can get it in the schools, that would be perfect.
I'm
But I
yeah.
believe that when
Uh,
it's time, the universe will open that door for it to happen.
Yeah, yeah,
I believe
and
that.
you have the credential. What am I trying? You have the credentials
Right.
to speak to the heart, soul, and spirit of people
Yeah.
and get them to move.
Yeah.
And you never know who
That's right. That's right. That's right.
to
Yep.
open those doors. Like you say, just keep the faith and
That's
stay
right.
here.
Yeah. That's right.
Don't drop
Yeah.
your expectations. Stay here,
Right.
and you will be on that road to wherever you want to be. And I feel a lot. And you can even use this video to
Yeah.
push your book.
Yes.
Because I can tell you,
Yeah.
uh, when I wrote the comment, uh, I wrote it from our ancestors speaking
Yes.
through me to you in
Yes.
writing that
Yes.
comment. So
Yes.
I meant every motherfucking word of that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
I really felt that. So
Yes.
you put a lot of energy
Mhm.
into it. You have a lot of years of experience that
Mhm.
people need to hear. And like I say, use this video, uh, you know, to propel your book to a whole nother level. I mean, if you
Yeah.
want, I mean, it don't. And hell, I come on and tell people, how it moved me. So I'm very grateful for you as a friend. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to meeting you guys, you and your husband and your family. So
Yes.
you guys are family to me from this day
Yes.
forward.
We
You guys,
family.
'cause I cannot and I will not have nobody with negative energy.
Right.
I
Right.
don't have the time for it. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So, yeah.
No.
So keep keep on keeping on, Sister Cassie.
Thank you. I will.
You know what I say?
Oh Lord.
Stay black. We'll see. I guess he's gonna have his show on Sunday, so
Yeah.
we'll see each other on Sunday, baby.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're gonna tear it up. And
Yeah.
then the next time I'm gonna be doing it twice or 3 times a week. Well, at least twice. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna start on X and here as well, and we got a lot to talk about.
Yes.
And all of those videos that I sent you, we're gonna fuck their heads up. That's all I
Yeah.
got. Because
That's the
I'm not
point.
even playing.
That's the
I'm
point.
not even playing. I'm not even playing. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Okay.
You
Thank
got
you.
have a good one. And sleep tight
I will.
and
You
stay
too.
black.
Thank you. You too, Isaiah. Thank you. Appreciate you, bro.
Yes,
Bye.
you got it. You got it. Stay black.